KMOX.
Good morning, friends. It is the Chris and Amy Show. Welcome in. Glad to have you. 314-436-7900 to join the show today. We've got the Odyssey app where you can listen and send us a voice message. We want those throughout the day today. It's very easy to do that. And we're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
Time now for the top of the order. The top 3 stories everyone will be talking about.
Mayor Spencer admits to a failure in the warning system, which did not go off in many parts of the city ahead of Friday's tornado that tore through. We are going to talk to the mayor in just a matter of moments.
And FEMA is set to begin assessing the damage in St. Louis tomorrow. A lot of questions surrounding where is FEMA and how capable are they of helping in disaster situations now?
Cardinals open up their series with a big win over the Detroit Tigers. They scored 11 runs in the game last night. They will play tonight, and from what we understand, weather should cooperate. They should be able to get this one in tonight. So you'll be listening to that one here on KMOX. It is Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji. And in just a second here, we're going to talk to Mayor Cara Spencer, who is joining the show today. She's also going to be on with Dave Glover, but I think it's important to check in with her multiple times today just because of the huge event that happened on Friday. And we are joined by the mayor now. Cara Spencer, it is good to have you with us. Thank you for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I was listening as we're driving around the city, heard my name and thought I'd just call in.
Yeah, so we'll get to the siren stuff in a moment. But first, we were talking about immediate needs, and there are still items and things that people who are here in the recovery process need. What do we need?
Of course, there are so many things that people need. Batteries, flashlights, obviously tarps and things like that. Any kind of charging ability. We're working on getting those deployed, power to the fire department so people can charge their phones and stay connected. There's food needs, you name it. People have we lost so many roofs, the sides of buildings. People are without basic shelter right now. And so the need is just tremendous. How people can plug in. We've got a website up on the city website right now. I'll make sure that I share that before the end of this conversation here. But, I would say sign up to volunteer, go through the official channels if you can. There's still some dangerous conditions out there. And so we want to make sure that as people are plugging in to help, they're doing it in an organized way, in a way in which everyone's staying as safe as possible.
Yeah, Mayor Spencer, I know yesterday before the storms that hit last night, there was an urgent need for people with tarping abilities and skills, and that the nonprofits and volunteers are leading the way in that. After those storms rolled through, do we know, have some of the tarps been ripped off? Is there still a very pressing need for more tarps and boarding up?
We do have that need. We're assessing it still here this morning, and I'll be able to share more information a little bit later here today. But we were out late last night, just trying to deploy tarps. We know people are having a hard time getting to the drop sites. So we were out personally trying to hand them out. We had volunteers doing the same. It is tough to get on the roofs to get the tarps up. So we were encouraging residents to pull. This is I can't even believe I'm having to say this, pull their belongings to the center of rooms and put tarps on them. I mean, the destruction is truly phenomenal. You think about it, when a tornado usually hits, it kind of touches down and moves on. This was 23 miles long, 8 miles within the city, at points a mile wide. The destruction was truly, truly phenomenal, and in the aftermath is heartbreaking.
Mayor Spencer, I also was talking to some people yesterday, people who were affected, and they were asking about the National Guard, and is the National Guard going to come help with whatever they can help with, security, street detail?
The National Guard is out today doing an assessment. It's not a very visible assessment, but it's one in which we are putting together what the National Guard that can do. So it's a needs assessment, and it's going to be matching what the National Guard has the capacity to do. In order for the National Guard to come out, we have to make a very specific request. And in order to make that request, we really had to do some fact finding. And right now, we're still in the process of that. Today will be that evaluation on their end that will help determine how we can make that ask so they can come and participate.
And the expectation. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just want to say it's not as easy as we thought we could just call the National Guard and say, hey, come in. It's not that easy. You have to have a very, very specific request in order for that to be granted, and we have been working to make that request.
As far as FEMA goes, FEMA is expected to be in the area tomorrow. Are they already here? I know the assessment begins tomorrow.
The assessment begins tomorrow. We are unaware if they're here today. And again, that request has to be very specific. We've been working with the governor, Senator Hawley, Schmidt. We had all these folks involved. And I have to tip my hat. I mean, Governor Kehoe showed up Saturday morning, first thing, took a full assessment with me of the field. We went everywhere to get a real good handle of what's going on. And we just have a tremendous amount of participation from every local elected official that I can think of that's been boots on the ground trying to help make sure that we are organizing as much support as humanly possible for this effort.
Mayor Spencer, you mentioned that the National Guard request has to be very specific and fall within their parameters. I think a lot of people were learning. I didn't know certain processes were so complicated. I know Missouri Governor Kehoe asked President Trump to issue an emergency declaration yesterday. Do we know if that has been granted?
I do believe that ask was made. I think it was made even sooner than that, but I don't want to get that wrong. I just want to make sure that listeners know that the governor did that as quickly as possible. We have not been notified that that's been granted, but I do know the ask has been put in. We're grateful for that, and we are waiting for response on that front.
So,
I'll say, the reason the federal response is there for a reason. I mean, we cannot possibly shoulder. We just can't shoulder this ourselves. It's not something any city could be able to handle. We know that the estimates are well over $1 billion, and that's on the conservative side. I mean, the sheer volume of properties and people that have been impacted by this is staggering.
Mayor Kara Spencer is with us here on KMOX. So wanted to ask you again about the tornado sirens, but I had seen people personally say, I didn't hear any sirens go off on Friday. And then, of course, a story was made of it. You admitted yesterday that there was a human failure in what happened there. First of all, I think we were all sort of surprised that it is still a push button system. Can you tell us how it works and how it is supposed to work and why the failure happened?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into too many specifics just because I don't want to get it wrong. We have done a pretty thorough investigation on our end as far as what we can know. And I'll say this, there was a human failure. As you mentioned, we have a push button system that is in the process and has been in the process of being phased out. We will no longer have that system by the end, I believe, of this year or within the year. We will have phased into a system that doesn't rely on humans to take care of it. Because you're right. I mean, just the thought that would be done by a human is just sort of mind blowing in this day and age. And so that's in the process. But at the end of the day, there was a human error here. And I'll say that there was an error in the process, the protocol. When protocols are not exceptionally clear where the buck stops within that protocol system, errors can, and in this case did, take place. We put a very clear set of parameters around protocols. We'll be making some public announcements about that today. As I mentioned in the presser yesterday, the buck stops with the fire department from this point forward, and we are all clear on those lines. And I have full confidence that this will not happen again.
Mayor Spencer, I know you said there was an error in protocol, but also human error. Has anyone been fired, been let go, or will anyone lose their job over this?
That is a kind of a HR issue. We're not commenting on that right now. I'll just say I do have confidence in our system here. I do have confidence in our team, and we are moving forward from this point. When protocols aren't clear, people's lives are on the line here, and it's our job from this point forward to make sure that those protocols are crystal clear from this point moving on.
We know residents in particular in North City have been upset about it because a lot of people were outside as the storm rolled in. What have you been hearing from them, and are they satisfied with the explanation?
We have been on the ground in neighborhoods every day throughout the day. People are overwhelmed with need right now. They're overwhelmed with, just getting through the day. And so they're grateful to see folks out helping. I have to say, our city crews have done an incredible amount of work and service. We just left Forest Park where we had, 100 folks from forestry, parks, all these city departments ready to be deployed for the day, ready to work 12-hour days to continue to clear the streets, the alleys, pulling trees off of houses, and continuing to do the enormous lift of making our community as safe as possible through this tragedy. And I will just say, people in the community are overwhelmed with the need and overwhelmingly grateful to our city crews and all of the folks, the community volunteers, all the folks working around the clock to do what we can to get us up and running again.
You mentioned safety, and I know people, whether it's police officers, responders working long shifts. One concern, obviously, is looting, making sure that people, when their homes are exposed, they're safe. Would that be something that you would consider calling the National Guard in for, just to help police officers with street detail and security?
Yeah, again, we're making that, assessment as we speak. And when you drive around or even just looking at photos, you can see that, you're right. The entire roofs are off. There are many, many instances where the front of homes were ripped completely off. People's belongings, their homes are exposed to the elements and to looting, as you pointed out. I will say that that's why we had put in the curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. That's been pretty effective. While we have had some reports of looting, overwhelmingly, people are reporting that the community's been peaceful. There haven't been too many issues. People are overwhelmingly working together to ensure the safety and well-being of the broader community. It is incredible the way that our community has come together to support each other, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. But as we move through the coming days, weeks, this is going to be a long haul. And as we go through the coming, days, weeks, months ahead, if we do see those types of issues, we'll be continuing to evaluate and pull in resources as we can and as necessary.
Mayor Spencer, lastly, yesterday we were talking and had heard from people, listeners who wanted to donate supplies, but wanted to do it by having them delivered. So Amazon orders, that sort of thing, as opposed to coming all the way out to O'Fallon Park or to Kings Highway where the Urban League is. And there was supposed to be some way to do that. Has that been established yet?
Yeah, so all of the information that we have is going to be, there's a city website, but we created an easier URL here, stlrecovers.com, and that's where we're hubbing all of the information about volunteering, all that sort of thing, is to stlrecovers.com. Oh,
we lost the mayor. STLrecovers.com is the website. And yes, it goes directly to what she's talking about. Mayor Spencer is going to be back on the station later today. She'll be talking with the afternoon show. So any updates that happen throughout the day, she will be giving those and passing those along to you. So that is Mayor Kara Spencer visiting with us, stlrecovers.gov. You want to make sure that you go there. And then if there's a way that you want to, actually, it's stlrecovers.com. Remember that, stlrecovers.com. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
All right. So you've heard me talk a lot about plantar fasciitis and foot pain. And you also know I run and hike. And Superfeet insoles, that's what you need to know. Superfeet insoles. I was having heel pain, like that nail going through your heel. It's the worst thing ever. And I dealt with it for a while. I went to Fleet Feet. I ended up working there. I loved the place so much, but I went to Fleet Feet. They fit me for Super Feet insoles, $60. That's all it costs. You don't have to pay hundreds of dollars for custom insoles. $60. I have been wearing them now for almost 20 years and 50,000 miles of marathoning and hiking, and they are a lifesaver. Now, if you're having knee pain, maybe you're having back pain, it's all because of misalignment, and Super Feet insoles can help support your feet within the shoes. I know it's crazy that you think, well, I have to put an insole in my shoe. Shouldn't the shoe be enough? It's not, and the Super Feet will help you out. Go to any of the 5 area locations: St. Charles, Chesterfield, De Pere, South County, and O'Fallon. 5 area locations of Fleet Feet. Ask them for Super Feet, whether you have high arches, low arches, or need a more custom fit. Super Feet.
I'm Emma Greed, and I've spent the last 20 years building, running, and investing in some incredible businesses. The more success I've had, the more people started coming to me with questions. How do you start a business? How do you raise money? How do I bounce back from failure? On my new podcast, Aspire with Emma Greed, I'll be answering these questions and more through weekly conversations with the smartest minds out there. Listen to and follow Aspire with Emma Greed, an Odyssey podcast, available now, wherever you get your podcasts.
I really need funding to expand my inventory.
Swish Funding can help you expand inventory, upgrade equipment, and boost your cash flow.
Well, okay, but I need funding fast.
Swish Funding provides funding from $25,000 to $2 million with payment terms tailored to your needs and cash in your account in less than 24 hours.
So what's the catch?
No catch. If you've been in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000, you could qualify. Just go to swishfunding.com to apply. That's swishfunding.com.
Not available in all states. Rates vary. Building a financial safety net for your family can be tough, but with term life insurance through Ethos, you can have peace of mind that they can pay the mortgage and other bills if something happens to you. With coverage in as little as 10 minutes, all online, Ethos finds your best rate across their multiple trusted carriers. Some policies as low as $1 a day billed monthly. And even in uncertain times, your term life insurance rates and payout don't change. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life.
If you are a shelter insurance policyholder and have damage to your home, car, farm, or business due to the recent storms, please call 1-800-SHELTER. That's toll free 1-800-743-5837. Or report your claim online at shelterinsurance.com. Early reporting of your loss will help Shelter schedule adjusters to handle your claim. Take whatever reasonable steps you can to protect your property from additional damage and call 1-800-SHELTER to report your claim today.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey guys, it's Glover. Right now, get 50% off your windows. That's half off plus no interest and no payments for 12 months and a free entry door with your window purchase. Call 314-334-2522. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
If you're a State Farm customer affected by the recent tornado and need to submit a claim, go to statefarm.com, call 1-800-SF-CLAIM, download the State Farm mobile app, or contact your local State Farm agent. With one of the industry's largest catastrophe response teams, State Farm and your agent are ready to help. Go to statefarm.com to start your claim. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
News, talk, cars. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores with you. Thank you to Mayor Kara Spencer for joining us this morning with the updates. She'll be on later with the Dave Glover Show. Ranj, I was walking around yesterday, my neighborhood and the Forest Park area. I wanted to stay out of the way. Just as a heads up, Forest Park is asking recreational visitors to not go to the park right now. Don't ride your bike. Obviously, the zoo, history museum, those places are closed anyway. But they're asking people, if you don't need to go to the park, don't go. Just give space for people to clean up. And they'll keep you updated with volunteer opportunities. Right now, they're doing the big stuff. There's a lot of heavy machinery. But that stretch along Skinker, Ranj, you kind of catch your breath a bit. And I understand that we're talking about a park here, and there are people who have lost everything and their homes. But just as that grand scheme of things, looking at the city of St. Louis, and the park is such a big part of St. Louis, and I know it will be okay, but it does look different. It does look different. A lot of, you can't get 100-year-old trees back right away. So just kind of surveying that damage. And like I said, I know Forest Park Forever will do great work, but for now they're asking recreational visitors to give them space.
Yeah, I did not see that before. I drove through yesterday just to take a look, and then I'm not kidding you, as soon as I pulled out of the park, we got the text message from you that said, "Don't go through the park today. We're trying to keep people away." I went, "Oops." But I did want to take a look at it.
Yeah, and there were some people who lost their homes who are maybe needing to get out. Do you know what I mean? And there's just the path of destruction was so wide that's not really a respite right now.
Oh, of course not. Yeah. And it isn't the most important thing, losing trees in a park.
Yeah.
It sucks. And especially if you've been there and you go there a lot, you will notice it looking a little bit different. I would not say it's 50% destruction or anything, maybe 10 or so.
Well,
it's not.
The north side wasn't hit as hard as the south. The south side wasn't hit as hard as the north side. The north side, and I
drove through that. Yeah.
I avoided that area because I followed the rules.
I didn't hear it. The streets were clear though. The streets inside the park were clear. But I wanted to take a look and just see where it, what it looked like. We talked to the governor. I thought he said something like 40 or 50% of the trees were gone. Maybe in parts of the park, but not the entire thing, though. I mean, it'll look a little different. And again, it's not the most pressing thing, but it is something that will be noticeable. You always notice when there's a massive tree that is lying on its side, right? And one that has probably been there for 80, 90, or 100 years.
I also walked around the neighborhood down in the Clayton area just because that's accessible for me. That's where I can get a lot more damage to homes than I initially realized, with entire roofs being blown off and obviously windows boarded up, no electricity, power lines down. I talked to someone who said, he said he had lived through multiple hurricanes when they lived in Florida.
Yeah.
And he said, this damage is so much worse than anything he's seen, that he personally have experienced. Another woman, because the tornado hit so quickly on Friday, she said she was gardening in the back of her yard and happened to move to the front of the yard where she could get, to the front door. And the tornado hit so quickly. She said, if I had been in the backyard, she goes, I think I would have been too disoriented with the wind, with the debris, that I don't think I could have gotten back inside my house in time.
I mentioned the one man I spoke to on Saturday who said, or maybe it was Friday, it was right after the storm, walking through the Central West End, and he said, 33 years I've been here and nothing like this. And again, he was lucky.
Got hit so hard.
It did. And he was lucky because he just had, parts of downed trees in his yard right in front of the street. His house was okay. The next door neighbor had a massive tree laying in the yard, but the house was okay. Right across the street, though, not so lucky. A giant tree laying on top of a house. And there were a bunch of those in that neighborhood. And then a bunch of that in North City, or homes just completely destroyed because of the wind gusts that were up over 150 miles an hour. It's a lot worse than you thought it would be. And we didn't really know going into it that it was going to be like that. I mean, we discussed this yesterday. They said, storms might happen in the afternoon. Didn't think it was going to turn into what it turned into. So there's a lot of unpredictability that happens there, and it's devastating. Amy Marks Core's Chris Ranji. When we come back, we'll talk to Congressman Wesley Bell, and he will tell us will give us more updates. FEMA and the national response, all of that next with Wesley Bell when we come back on the Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM.
Our hometown was hit hard by a recent tornado that devastated parts of St. Louis. And now, our community needs us. The radio stations of Odyssey St. Louis have teamed up to help. Go to KMOX.com to see how you can donate, volunteer, or support recovery efforts. Let's come together and show what St. Louis is made of.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Another RX Watch, brought to you by Onder Law.
Welcome back to RX Watch. This alert is disturbing.
Right. A while back, we learned that companies like Johnson & Johnson use a mineral called talc in baby powder and other products.
And studies show that talc, when used for feminine hygiene, can cause ovarian cancer.
Now listen to this. RX Watch has learned that the talc they use is being mined in China.
Right, and talc mined in China contains heavy metal contaminants like chromium and magnesium, which are known to cause cancer. But China doesn't care.
So China gets the jobs and we get contaminated talc in our baby powder.
And ovarian cancer.
Right. With their specialized tests, the medical team at Onder Law can help you know if your ovarian cancer was caused by talc.
Onder Law has helped women for years with free and confidential consultation. You need to call Onder Law's pharma attorneys at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
Call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
That's 1-800-RX-WATCH, or go to rxwatch.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Cardinal Cowboy here. Years ago, doctors said I'd never be independent after a bad car accident. Well, I proved them wrong. When proving who's the best in garage doors, Renner does it every time. Whether it's service or a new door, you're covered with top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster. Keep your garage door running strong with Renner's $100 maintenance check. Or get a free replacement quote. Call or click RennerDoorSTL.com. Renner, forward and back.
R-E-N-N-E-R, R-E-N-N-E-R.
Currently, it is sunny, partly cloudy, and 68 degrees downtown at the Arch. A high of 82 today. Sunshine and clouds mixed with a stray shower or thunderstorm possible in the afternoon. We'll keep an eye on that. We will also be talking to meteorologist Dave Murray at 10:30. Tomorrow, a high of 72 and partly cloudy.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888. Sell your home with certainty. Sell your home with Gloria Lou. Your home sold guaranteed realty. Gloria Lou's name is her promise. Call 314-325-6888 and start packing.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. So tell them today, I love you. Get screened. It could help save their life. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins.
Join the millions of people who are celebrating going hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. Footwear you just step into and they're on.
It's crazy how something as simple as a pair of shoes have made my life better.
After trying Skechers Slip-ins, I want all my shoes to have this technology. See what everybody can't stop talking about. Go hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Tonight, the Cards, the Tigers.
Ameren Total Access 550.
Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Amy Marks Coors, Chris Ranji, 104.1 FM KMOX, and we go to the guest line again this morning as we visit with Representative in Missouri's 1st District, Congressman Wesley Bell, joins the show here on KMOX. Congressman Bell, how are you?
I'm well. Good to be here with you guys.
It's good to have you. I know that you were in St. Louis in the immediate aftermath of the storm and what happened here. I'm assuming that you did not expect it to be as bad as it was.
I mean, we haven't had a storm of this nature hit St. Louis since the late 1950s. So it's hard to, to anticipate something like this as catastrophic as it's been. And it really is as bad as folks are hearing.
Well, a lot of questions surrounding FEMA and where is FEMA. The latest I heard is that FEMA will be in town tomorrow to assess the damage. Is that where we stand?
Yeah, so FEMA, and I just got off a call with FEMA. Our office is obviously coordinating and working with them, and they will be on the ground, and then they'll start their what are called damage assessments. Those damage assessments take 3 to 4 days, and then they submit their findings. That goes into the governor's disaster declaration that he makes, that he has already assured us that he will be doing, and so then requesting from the president to also make that disaster declaration, unlocking those resources. And so obviously we're working with the Missouri delegation to not only lead in that request, but also to put the pressure on the administration to get it done, because folks need those resources today, not 2 weeks from now or 2 months from now, but yesterday.
Yeah, Representative Bell. So if FEMA comes in tomorrow to assess, that's 6 days after the storm. And then if it takes another, say, 4 days to get that done, we're looking at 10 days. Is that acceptable? Is that normal that it would take 6 days for FEMA to arrive at a disaster zone like this?
You know what? We haven't had a disaster like this. And so when we're looking at other areas, and I've talked to other colleagues who've been hit hard in Alabama, Congressman Figures and Representative Sewell, this is not an overnight process. And I think we have to recalibrate and reset expectations with respect to FEMA. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't other organizations already on the ground working to meet needs. And let's keep in mind too, this is not you can't at this point, we are not in a place in the city of St. Louis, particularly in North St. Louis, where we can start rebuilding. There are still downed wires. There are still unstable buildings. And so we have to allow this assessment to happen so that also our first responders can help stabilize these areas so that we can start the cleanup and then ultimately the rebuild. But it's not, this is not an overnight fix. This is going to take some time, but I can tell you right now on the local level, folks are working around the clock. The fire department, law enforcement, EMS, city workers on the state level and the federal level, everyone is working together and working around the clock and doing everything that we can to secure every resource that we can.
Is there a concern that any federal cuts that have happened over the last few months in the new administration will have an effect negatively here?
Yeah, there's a concern until, it's like that when your check comes in direct deposit, until it comes, you're a little nervous, right? And I'm concerned. And with some of the things that we've seen with cuts, we hope that this is not one of them. When we're talking about disaster relief, when we're talking about when folks are at their most vulnerable. And so we want to make certain that every neighborhood and every neighbor get every resource they need, whether, to make certain that they have the basics of food, water, and clothing, because some folks are displaced, but also rebuilding, because there's a lot of folks out there with no place to go.
And just to clarify, because just last week, FEMA's new head admitted that the relief agency is not ready for hurricane season, which is within 2 weeks now. That was just last week. And there was with Elon Musk and the Doge cuts, they were targeting FEMA. So do we know if this delayed response, or if this response is delayed because of either funding cuts through Doge or the confusion created by that?
I don't know if delayed is fair, to be perfectly frank. I mean, the storms, we're talking just late last week. The FEMA is already in contact with the city, with our office and area partners, but there are certain processes that have to happen, and so you're talking 4 or 5 days, and FEMA will be on. Now, I'll say this, Amy, because I think it's a fair question. I'm just not in the business of finger pointing. I'm in the business of getting people the help that they need. And once that's done, then we can go back and review and assess whether or not the response was appropriate with what we've seen in other disasters. But right now, I think the priority has to be, let's get the help to the folks who need it and make certain those folks know where to go. There's a lot of organizations like the Urban League, Annie Malone. There's organizations that are working at the different YMCAs, O'Fallon. We've worked with organizations to help bring Wi-Fi and charging stations and chargers to folks so they can get plugged back in to be able to find where these resources are. And so I think that's got to be the priority. But your question is legitimate, and let me be clear on that. But I just think it's premature to start going into that part. Let's get into the part where we're focusing on our neighbors and getting them the resources that they need.
Congressman, we asked the mayor about National Guard assistance and whether it is needed or just how much it is. In your estimation, what is your opinion on that?
I mean, I think it should be all hands on deck. If you've driven through North St. Louis, and we're not asking anyone to do that, because it is challenging right now, and we need to let our first responders, but also our city workers and state and federal folks do their jobs. But if you have seen even the images of it, I've just returned from the Middle East on a congressional delegation trip. And so when I say it looks like a war zone, that is not hyperbole. It's not exaggeration. It literally, that's exactly what it looks like. And so there's just a lot of folks who need a lot of help. And so, power lines are down, over 5,000 buildings are damaged. Right now it's projected to be about $1.6 billion in damage. And that number is probably on the low end. So we got a lot to do. This is going to be we got to be in it for the long haul. And I think it's so important that everyone come together. Like, this is not the time to start looking for scapegoats and start pointing fingers. When I see online, people are trying to blame people. No, let's come together as St. Louisans. This is a close-knit community, and it's time for us to show that.
Yeah, I mean, and looking at the different responses, we were talking about the tornado sirens with Mayor Kara Spencer and how those didn't go off. And she was talking about how we're changing that process because it didn't work, right? And it's looking at how can we handle things better, also knowing what type of response works or doesn't work, when you're looking in retrospect. So again, one reason bringing up FEMA or bringing up the National Guard in the chaos of all of this, there need to be decisions made, but then also available resources. If you don't have the resources, you do find yourself waiting for a response, like money, help from the federal government.
Exactly. And that's why we have, our office and I talk to my staff. This is our number one priority and will be our number one priority. Our entire office is focused on the disaster recovery. And again, that we are working with local stakeholders so we can start being sort of a clearinghouse, because there's a lot of folks who want to help and want to contribute, but also with federal and state resources, bringing every resource to bear. And so we're going to try to get every dollar that we can from FEMA, and assuming that works out the way that it should, those funds are not infinite. And so we're also going to, when the time comes, and if the time comes, which I anticipate it will, asking for a bill for additional funds. And that's something that I intend to take the lead on as well. And so this is tough, but I think that what this region has shown is that we come together, and we're going to continue to come together, and we're going to get through this. But it's important that we're all working together, and we're not doing it alone.
Congressman Wesley Bell, what are your constituents telling you they need?
I think first and foremost, folks want answers and to understand what's going on. And that's why I appreciate you all having me on so that I could communicate some of this. Follow us on Facebook, or social media, Instagram, you name it, Blue Sky, Twitter. We're on all of them. Follow us because we're sending out local updates. But also folks want to know, timelines. And so that's why we've been working with FEMA to figure out how that works out, and that process, which I talked about, the damage assessment, which will be about 3 or 4 days. And then that report is given, and our letter from the Missouri delegation that we've led and working with the governor's office, which they'll be submitting their request, that's ready to go. We just have these processes that we have to go through. And so that should happen in the next few days. But we're already talking with and coordinating with FEMA, and just understanding, stuff like, Chris, insurance, and we suspect that there's going to be a lot of folks, a lot of damage that their insurance may not be adequate, and just getting answers to whether those folks will be eligible for resources. And I've been assured that they will. But it's just a lot, and it's tough, but the resilience that I'm seeing from not just our local, state, and federal partners, but just folks on the ground. When you go out, you see people cooking and giving out food for free, and what we've seen as far as the donations coming in and organizations stepping up. Annie Malone, had to postpone their parade, but they didn't postpone their commitment to helping folks. So they, instead of having the parade, had an event where they invited folks to bring donations and get donations. The Urban League has been doing what the Urban League always does under the leadership of Mike McMillan. And so between folks like Dr. Holmes with Affinia Healthcare and the services that they're providing for folks who need medical care, and I'm mentioning a few, but there's so many organizations that are working. So folks are really coming together and showing up and showing out, and just makes me proud to be a St. Louis.
Congressman Wesley Bell, as always, thank you for talking with us. It's unfortunate that it is during this or after an event like that, but we do appreciate you being with us.
And Chris, can I say this real quick?
Yes.
When times are tough, we come together, unlike Bears fans.
Okay. All right. See, you know what?
Too soon, Chris?
Yes. It's always too soon.
Hey, well, I'm a Bears fan. You got Luther Burden, so I'm just letting you know I'm on board.
You know what?
Well, so is the Pope now.
You know what?
So
I think I've decided I'm going to try to primary Wesley Bell.
I'm in. I'm saying it right now. I'm in. They got Luther Burden.
They
St.
do.
Louis,
They do.
Mizzou kid. I'm in.
MIZ. All right. Congressman, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on, and just know we're working round the clock, and we're going to get through this. Thank you.
Wesley Bell, U.S. Representative out of the state of Missouri, District 1, with us. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
The smartest way to do your homework is Heckman Lumber.
Warm weather means homework for homeowners. And for 80 years, Hackman Lumber has been the trusted name for home improvement. If your homework means a new deck, turn to the deck experts at Hackman Lumber. Browse the largest inventory of decking materials and accessories in Missouri. Talk with our experts about treated lumber, cedar, TimberTech, Trex, Envision, Decorators, and Duralife to find the perfect deck for you. Choose from endless railings, balusters, and LED deck lighting options. Hackman Lumber has been serving homeowners and pros for 80 years, and they will not be undersold on in-stock decking materials guaranteed. Whether you DIY with their expert advice or need a trusted contractor, Hackman has you covered. They are now an authorized steel dealer and stock a huge selection of grills. So celebrate summer with a new Big Green Egg, pellet grills, Weber gas, or charcoal grill, and all the accessories you need for the perfect backyard setup. Visit Hackman Lumber's showrooms in St. Charles, Pacific, and Troy, Missouri, or HackmanSTL.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because we're a school for real life. An accredited state university, UMGC lets you earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning, life, and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer affordable tuition and online and hybrid courses. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan along with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. Doctor, when should somebody typically get a hearing evaluation?
You know, Charlie, the simple answer to that would be at age 65. However, there are some contributing factors that might make people more at risk for hearing loss. Some people with a history of noise exposure or a family history of hearing loss, or those suffering from tinnitus, those people should come in to have their hearing evaluated at age 60. And of course, anyone noticing difficulty hearing or ringing in the ears should come in as soon as they notice these changes.
That's the word from Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center with 3 convenient locations: Florissant, St. Peter's, and Creve Coeur. Schedule an appointment today by calling 636-441-7470 or the Audiology Center STL.com.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX and the free Odyssey app. Now, Did you see this? With Chris and Amy.
Okay, Ranj.
Yep.
I do want to ask if you saw this because we were talking to Representative Bell about the FEMA response. It seems that that FEMA will be in St. Louis tomorrow to assess the damage. There was a story in USA Today, one of many stories, but specifically USA Today looking at FEMA staff cuts and how this is concerning as we enter hurricane and tornado seasons. This was May 1st, and at least 2,000 of FEMA's 6,100 full-time employees, so about a third, have either left the agency or plan to leave under the waves of terminations and voluntary retirements ordered by DOJ. And that's my question is, how do you lose 1/3 of your agency and it doesn't affect your response going into one of the busiest natural disaster seasons?
I'd say it's impossible. I'd say anybody who works for any company ever that has done cuts in various departments and asking people to take on more work, the work always suffers. There is no exception to that.
And that's why it's not a finger pointing question. It
doesn't matter if it is or not.
How do you operate if you lose a third of your staff and suddenly you're going into tornado and hurricane season? That's where my concern is. And that's what we'll watch play out, like see if it is affected in the next few days here.
Well, there should be finger pointing because it didn't have to happen this way, and it did. So, yeah, I mean, it's we have talked about how the DOJ cuts are. We get the idea of it. Yeah, of course, we want to streamline government, want to cut waste where possible. That's not what these people did. They didn't do that. They took a sledgehammer when it needed, like a scalpel. It's I don't know, and it's going to affect people's lives, which really sucks. So you heard about the New Orleans jail, Amy, where 10 inmates escaped?
I did.
Yes. So a maintenance worker named Sterling Williams at the Orleans Parish Justice Center has been arrested, and he was booked into jail this morning as he allegedly shut off the water to a toilet to aid in the escape of an apparent attempt to help clear the inmates or clear the way for the inmates. So what they did was they dug behind a toilet, they carved a hole in the wall, and they escaped through the hole. So this maintenance worker had to shut off the water in order for them to do that, and that's how they got out. So he is facing 10 counts of principal to simple escape and 1 count of malfeasance in office.
Now, just devil's advocate, did he know he was shutting off the water for them to escape, or were they like, oh no, call a plumber, we have a leak?
Oh, I think they know. I think they know. Malfeasance.
Malfeasance.
Yes.
In education. Okay, so he knew.
Yeah, of course he knew.
Well, I just, maybe.
If you shut off one toilet in the entire prison or jail, and that's how everybody gets out, is through that toilet, what are the odds of that being a coincidence?
I'm just saying, like, if you told me, hey, Amy, the toilet's overflowing, turn it off, I would not think, oh, maybe they're trying to escape through the toilet.
Well,
I'm an idiot. That's why I'm not a prison plumber.
Haven't you ever seen Catch Me If You Can?
No.
With Leo and Tom Hanks?
No.
Oh, yeah. He escaped through the toilet in an airplane. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. At any rate, we hope that you don't escape from jail if you're in jail. Stay where you are. If you're in jail listening to the show, stay where you are. You're supposed to be there, at least for now.
Thank you for listening.
And go through the appropriate channels to get released. Okay? Do not escape from jail. When we come back, the partner and managing director at One Private Wealth, Dave Simons, will join us. We'll talk about your finances, also what not to do or what to do after a disaster like occurred on Friday. That's next on KMOX.
Tom Ackerman here, joining Busey Bank in recognizing Ron Doherty for building community. President and CEO Ron Doherty has been strengthening our communities for 40 years. After merging Doherty Business Solutions with CGI, he launched Doherty Enterprises and Foundation, which supports the Alzheimer's Association, other worthy causes, and innovative solutions with millions of dollars annually. Follow Doherty Enterprises on LinkedIn to learn more.
This is Pat Buring, Executive Vice President of Busey Bank. The Doherty Foundation supports the Alzheimer's Association and other causes financially. while Doherty Enterprises uses AI and advanced technology to provide support and relief to patients and caregivers dealing with Alzheimer's and other dementia diseases. Follow their lead. That's what building community is all about. Join Busey. Get involved as we continue building the communities we call home.
Consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Mid-America's most trusted voice for news. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hi, this is Steve Butts with the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. I know we're all experiencing sticker shock when you get your insurance premium. Now more than ever, you need an independent insurance agent to find the best value for your family's insurance needs. Crawford Butts, family owned and operated for more than 60 years. Please give us a call at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It is 10 o'clock, and right now we've got sunshine and 71 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey. A day after acknowledging that human error was to blame for tornado sirens not sounding before the deadly Twister touchdown in St. Louis Friday, Mayor Kara Spencer joined the Chris and Amy show on KMOX to explain. We have done a pretty thorough investigation on our end as far as what we can know, and I'll say that there was a human failure. The button used to activate the sirens was not pushed. We will no longer have that system by the end, I believe, of this year or within the year. We will have phased into a system that doesn't rely on humans. Mayor Spencer says they are now still sorting out how to process what the process will be, but the St. Louis City Fire Department will be in charge of pushing the button instead of city emergency management. Israel showing no sign of responding to allies' calls to halt its new military offensive in Gaza. Health officials say airstrikes killed at least 85 Palestinians overnight. Meanwhile, Israel says it is allowing dozens more aid trucks in. There was a blockade of food, medicines, and fuel for nearly 3 months. President Trump arriving on Capitol Hill to try to seal the deal on his budget bill and unify divided House Republicans. It's not at all clear the package has the needed support. With all Democrats opposed, the Republicans can handle only a few defections from their slim House majority. The budget includes sweeping tax breaks for the wealthy, funded largely through cuts to Medicaid, food stamps, infrastructure, affordable housing, and green energy programs. The Louisiana prison escape looks like an inside job. Authorities have arrested an Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office employee in connection with the escape of 10 inmates. The inmates escaped through a hole in a wall behind a toilet early last Friday. 4 of the fugitives have been apprehended. 6 remain at large. The World Health Organization has adopted an agreement on how to deal with future pandemics.
After 3 years of tough negotiations, member states of the World Health Organization have agreed to what's been described as a global commitment to act on the hard lessons of the COVID-19 pandemic, improving global coordination and detection, as well as access to vaccines and treatments. Amid concerns around national sovereignty, the agreement excludes the WHO from imposing measures such as lockdowns or vaccination programs on member states.
That's the BBC's Dominic Hughes in Geneva. The All-American Rejects went to a house party in Columbia for a surprise concert Sunday night. The Oklahoma rock band out with a new album for the first time in more than a decade. Lead singer Tyson Ritter gave fans notice on social media for the pop-up show.
Because these shows have been so crazy and so fun, we aren't going to be posting the address on socials. You have to strictly sign up for our text in the bio. So we're coming to Columbia, Missouri.
Police were reportedly called to the house where officers allowed the band to play an encore before breaking the party up. It's time for weather.
Times of sun and clouds, breezy, warm, and humid this afternoon with a thunderstorm or two crossing the area. Any thunderstorm can be strong with hail and damaging wind gusts, the high 81. Clear to partly cloudy and cooler tonight, though 56. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's sunny and 71 now in downtown St. Louis. It's 10:03. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
Weather sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
Hey, it's the Cardinal Cowboy. The beginning of a new season is a perfect time for a tune-up from my friends at Renner Garage Door. Need a new door? Get a free replacement quote today. RennerDoorSTL.com. Forward and back. Giddy up!
RENNER. The Chris and Amy Show is video streaming now on KMOX's YouTube, X, and Facebook pages. Click and subscribe.
Hour 2 of 3. We go from 9 to noon on this Chris and Amy Show. Amy Marks Course, Chris Ranji. Time to go back to the guest line, the partner and managing director at One Private Wealth. Dave Simons is with us this morning. Dave, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Chris. How are you and Amy?
I think we're doing okay. Amy, you all right?
I'm doing pretty well.
She's fine.
Right.
I'm a little sleepy, Dave, because I was up late last night with more storm warnings, and the tornado sirens did go off by me. And just FYI, I was listening to KMOX until 1 a.m. Michael Calhoun anchored storm mode live with Dave Murray until 1 a.m. last night.
Yeah, I was falling asleep. I wanted to stay awake because I knew the storms were coming in. I live out in West County and fell asleep. But I think it was about 11:20, 11:25. The sirens went off. So up we were.
We're going to talk to Dave Murray, by the way, in 25 minutes.
Oh, that's right. And last note, I did get to meet my neighbor in the stairwell, and we had a nice visit. I know. Nice. It was real. And I was like, you should listen. How are your finances? Because we're talking to Dave Simons tomorrow.
Yeah, Dave, let's start with when a disaster like this happens, what is there a bit of advice that you give people, something to do or not do after a thing like this?
Well, yeah, I think people know the first thing and foremost after you check to make sure, you've got your belongings and whatnot. But let's say there is some real damage. I mean, this is where you hate to be that insurance agent. And I've got a couple of good friends who run their own insurance practice, and they do not have good days because they know that so many of their clients and customers are going to be calling. It's interesting because this is a big and growing issue here in the United States. Call it climate change, call it whatever you want. But insurance companies now, this is a very changing industry. Tornadoes are one thing. That's what we here in the Midwest have to deal with mostly. But it's the hurricanes and it's these wildfires now. You have a massive change in the way that the industry is now protecting people. In fact, a lot of insurance companies are pulling out, whether it's in Florida because of hurricanes or California because of wildfires. This is an economic issue that we're going to all have to deal with going forward, because now how do these folks get insurance coverage? And if they can, it becomes so astronomically expensive that they just can't do it.
Yeah, I guess that would be the question. If insurance companies just can't do it when it comes to a state like California, the wildfires, the other natural disasters, does that mean we have to reinvent the system as we know it?
Well, it definitely means taxpayers are likely going to be more on the hook. And I know people don't want to hear that, because how many people say this, and I know some folks listening right now are affected by this because of the flooding that happens a lot in this area. But it's like, can we just move people away from these areas? We have to have this taxpayer money that just constantly goes in and helps to rebuild these homes in people's lives. And now you're getting that ask of people in Florida because of hurricanes, and other places like Colorado and Arizona and California because of wildfires. You just can't keep moving people around. So, yeah, Amy, this is going to cause a big rethink. In fact, it's already happening. This is really interesting. Just yesterday, I went and looked at all these insurance stocks like Allstate and Chubb and all these big companies that cover people and their cars and homes and property. You know, their stocks have all been going astronomically higher the last couple of years. It's an industry that I don't follow that much, and I frankly was surprised at how much they've gone up. These stocks are doing better than the broader market, and as I did a little bit more digging, it's because they are starting to change their business model. They just cannot be on the hook anymore for always going in and bailing out the same homes in various parts of the country. So their profit margins, I guess, are starting to go up. And that tells me that this process of changing their business models is already underway.
Yeah, so maybe you can't answer this question, but I have seen criticism of major insurance companies, and that criticism is they are using climate change to raise premiums and say, well, sorry, what can we do? Much in the same way that the greedflation thing was happening, where, big stores would raise prices when there was the supply chain. Then the supply chain rebounded, but they still charged you a lot of money and they blamed it on inflation, even though they could have lowered prices again. Is there truth to that?
Yeah, I don't know, but I know exactly why you would ask the question. I think it's a fair question, especially, look, the ultimate arbiter here really doesn't have an opinion, and it's not political. It's the stock. It's the stock market. So when you look at a stock of any of these insurance companies, and I look at Progressive and others, these stocks are. I would just tell anyone, go look at these stocks, look at their symbol, look at them, and you say, wow, after years of actually not performing well because of all the aforementioned catastrophes we're talking about, but in the last couple of years now, these things are taking off, even while we've had more disasters, additional disasters. So if people are saying, these investments have actually been doing very well. So, look, it's a free market capitalistic society. And if these companies say it just doesn't pay to insure, the government, then this is why we have a government. They have to come in and maybe fill that void, which of course falls on us as taxpayers.
Well, we've been definitely focused on the tornado, the damage, and the recovery here in St. Louis, but the economy at large, Dave, and the, whether it's interest rates, inflation rates, where are we in our current little volatile time we're in?
Yeah, Amy, it really still is getting down to this this tiresome discussion of tariffs, but that's just where we are. So many of these economists and market strategists that I talk to, and many of them based on Wall Street, they're just kind of sitting on their hands right now. But here's the thing. There's an old saying that says, do not short a dull market, which means don't bet against it. When everyone seems to be sitting on their hands because they don't know what to do, that tends to help the market move higher. It's a very strange phenomenon, and that's exactly what is happening right now. In just the last few weeks, the S&P 500 has moved higher about 20% off the lows since mid-April. This is one of the top 10 biggest moves in the history of the stock market. So we had one of the fastest, sharpest declines ever from Liberation Day on April 2nd for about a week or so. And then this huge turnaround from there back and above that. So it's one of those things right now, Amy, where people, they can't really answer the question, okay, where are we going? And then meanwhile, because of this lack of volatility and not a lot of news on which to invest on, it's just kind of continuing to incrementally go higher. But I would warn investors out there who are listening, be careful. I'm not throwing any cold water on this, but we haven't settled anything here. I mean, we got this 90-day thing, and how much longer we have? I don't know, 70, 75 days when that ends sometime in July, where we may have to do this all over again. And if there's no additional negotiations and nothing that's going on with China, then we could see a repeat from early April. That has not been settled yet at all. And my opinion is, I think inflation is going to go higher through the end of the year. I do. I think these tariffs are going to take place. So I would not necessarily chase this market. Stay with your plan. Continue to invest in your 401k. But don't think that now is the time to get aggressive just because the market's done well. I think it's overdoing it just a little bit.
Well, it has rebounded, but it's still not where it was in February, right?
Yeah, it's not back to its all-time high. You're exactly right. It's back above so-called Liberation Day, but its all-time high was reached in February, and we're still about, 5-6% below that. Yes.
Dave, I guess this could be related with, before we let you go, with the tariffs. How is your Mandarin these days?
Nisha Jongo Renma?
Are you fluent?
No. So just very quickly, this just started out of the blue a couple of years ago.
You just woke up one day and you could speak Mandarin?
It was weird. I woke up out of a coma and I could speak Chinese. It's the strangest thing. No, I told my wife, now that I'm older and in my 60s, I keep active, as you know, physically, but you got to keep that brain active. And so a great challenge, some people do crossword puzzles or whatever. I told my wife, I'm going to not only learn a language, but I'm going to pick one of the hardest ones out there. So I have a teacher and I'm loving it, but it is difficult. Chinese is hard.
That's incredible. I also feel like now you can be our reporter on the tariffs and go, no, that's not what he said.
yeah, that's right.
He didn't say that.
I will be the in-house interpreter. You call me anytime.
Love it.
Dave Simons, we appreciate it. Thank you. We will talk to you next Tuesday.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Thanks, Amy.
Dave Simons is the partner and managing director at One Private Wealth. He is our financial expert, and we talk to him every Tuesday at 10 o'clock. It's Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji. We're going to talk to the executive director of Craft Alliance. The Del Mar Maker District took quite a bit of damage during the storm on Friday. The recovery efforts are happening, and we'll talk to Brian Nicely, who is the executive director of the Craft Alliance, next on KMOX.
I really need funding to expand my inventory.
Swish Funding can help you expand inventory, upgrade equipment, and boost your cash flow.
Well, okay, but I need funding fast.
Swish Funding provides funding from $25,000 to $2 million with payment terms tailored to your needs and cash in your account in less than 24 hours.
So what's the catch?
No catch. If you've been in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000, you could qualify. Just go to swishfunding.com to apply. That's swishfunding.com.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Now is the perfect time to start on your next success. An accredited state university, University of Maryland Global Campus offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-280-2424. 800-280-2424. That's 800-280-2424.
Did you know your skin
skin is the largest organ of your body. Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-MILLION. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends Mark and Neil Gelman from the Gelman team of eXp Realty. If you want immediate cash for your home or to see what your home is actually worth in today's market, find out for free from the local experts. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
Hospital Sisters Health System isn't just in your community. We're your neighbors, your friends, your support system. From your first visit, you'll experience expert care backed by the strength of our entire health network. At HSHS, we put your health first, with medical expertise and kindness that makes you feel valued at every step. HSHS, connected to our community, committed to your health. Visit hshs.org/caring to learn more.
Setting goals for retirement is one thing, but knowing how to achieve those goals is another.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different.
For tips on building a better nest egg, tune in to the All Financial Hour with host Steve All, Saturday mornings at 10 or Sunday evenings at 6, right here on KMOX. You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
Total Information AM, weekdays 5 to 9 on the voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores with you. And as we continue to cover the recovery efforts across the city of St. Louis, our focus turns to the Del Mar Maker District and the Craft Alliance. Now, the Craft Alliance is a 60-year-old community arts organization. They suffered serious damages to their offices on Friday with the tornado. And joining us now is the executive director of the Craft Alliance, Brian Nicely, to let us know what kind of damage the Craft Alliance suffered and what kind of help they still need. Brian, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
For people who, let's start at the basics, for people who might not be familiar with what the Craft Alliance is and what it does and how it contributes to St. Louis, can you kind of set the table?
Sure. We've been around for almost 61 years now, providing craft opportunities for our community in multi-mediums, including metal, paper, wood, clay, fiber, glass, and really giving kids of all ages, adults down through elementary school, the opportunity to come in and be creative, find their creative side, and actually create craft items that might actually help them with a career in craft.
What sorts of help do you need right now?
The Maker District needs lots of help, whether it's boots on the ground and helping with cleanup efforts. We've actually cleaned up most of our office. So we're just now waiting on estimates to get repairs. And primarily, we're waiting for the power to come back on. Once the power comes back on, we will be able to start classes back up again, which I know will be great for our community and getting them back together. But once we know more about the office space and the reconstruction of the concrete ceiling and roof, which is going to take several months to fix.
Yeah, you talked about getting the classes back together. Just to clarify, will you be able to do classes in that building, or is it still structurally unsound?
No, the studio side, thankfully, is not harmed by the storm. So we're very lucky with that. So that's why we're excited about hopefully getting the power back on and getting people back in there so they can bring the community back together. The administrative side of the building is a separate part of the building, and that's where the damage is sustained, and it's just not safe to be in there.
In terms of people who might be out of work temporarily, is that an issue you're dealing with now?
We have people working remotely all over town right now. We're putting together a makeshift office at our PR firm currently, and we've had some other offers for temporary office space. And some of our workers have the ability that, they have computers, they can work from home. So we're trying to pull that effort together and, keep people as seamless as possible, just because we have to continue on with our camps and our classes. We have summer camp coming up starting June 2nd. So we're still taking registrations for that and just trying to keep the ball rolling.
Well, I know there are a couple of events coming up where people can go. They can help donate funds to the recovery process for Craft Alliance and the Maker District on Del Mar. What can you tell us about these events?
Sure. There's going to be a tornado relief night at the Foundry this Wednesday from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. So come out. There'll be live things going on. There'll be opportunities for silent auctions, just to get back together with your craft and arts community, tell stories and help each other out, and make donations, obviously, to all those organizations. And then we also have a fundraiser coming up on May 28th, a spring trivia night, and that's going to be held at Alpha Brewery down on Filer. And information for that's on our website at craftalliance.org, and you can always make a donation there as well.
So this Wednesday, tomorrow at the Foundry, an event happening. It gets started at 5:30, and then again a week from tomorrow on Wednesday, that'll be at Alpha Brewing Company, and that trivia begins at 7 o'clock. Craftalliance.org is the website. Is everybody okay? Everybody associated with Craft and Maker District, as far as you know?
Yeah, we were very lucky. There was very little warning. I think everyone knows, the siren issue, but we literally got into the restrooms, which is the core part of our building, just in time. The doors were blowing open, and that's about what the time the storm hit. And so we were very fortunate. No one was hurt in our building. As far as I know, no one sustained any serious damage personally, and in the Maker District, just the catastrophic physical damage of the structures.
And I know you mentioned the classes, and I wanted to go back to this and how the Craft Alliance serves the community. How many kids do you think have been through your programs over these 6 decades you've been around?
It's thousands and thousands. We see thousands of kids every year. For instance, our summer camp has roughly 700, 800 kids in it every summer. We see thousands of adults and youth in our programs year-round, both in the building and outside of the building. So I'm sure it's hundreds of thousands of people at this point. It's a lot.
And then I know your nonprofit, Craft Alliance, are there scholarships? Do some kids go on scholarships if they want to take part in the camps but maybe can't afford it?
Yeah, we do have a scholarship program, so it's need-based, and you can find that information on our website as well. And just apply. We're very encouraging for people. We've been really fortunate this last year to get more money donated for the scholarship program, and we hope to expand that going forward.
We started this by asking you about Craft Alliance, an organization that's been around for decades. I'm still not sure a lot of people here in St. Louis know exactly what the Maker District is, because it's sort of a newer thing, and it's like there's a lot going on there. So can you tell people exactly what Maker District is and why it's new and exciting?
Yeah, the Maker District is, the block on Del Mar between Union and Kings Highway. And it was really a block where the creative sector came together, whether that's arts, crafts, culinary arts, creative businesses, maker spaces. So it really provides a compact community where the creative sector can come together, share resources, learn from each other, support each other, and really try to make a difference in revitalizing that area of Del Mar.
Well, it's been fun to see the Maker District grow, and I know millions of dollars have been invested into that area. I was listening to, KMOX this morning talking about that, how much money has been invested to make it grow, and then just to have this setback is discouraging, but we know the community is coming together to help rebuild those buildings, clean up the mess, and continue the great work that's going on in the Maker District. So Executive Director of Craft Alliance, Brian Nicely, thank you so much again for your time this morning. Again, a couple of events Coming up, one tomorrow, Wednesday, May 21st, City Foundry Live Art Market, Tornado Relief Night, and the Craft Alliance Trivia Fundraiser on Wednesday, May 28th at Alpha Brewing Company. Brian, thank you so much, and take care as you guys recover from the storm.
Thank you.
That is Brian Nicely with the Craft Alliance. He's Chris Ranji. I'm Amy Mark Scores. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Uses direct.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Check the back seat. Check the back seat.
Gets in your head, right? Good, because every year dozens of children are forgotten in the back seat. Cars get hot fast and can be deadly, so get it in your head. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you, and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing.
Currently, it is 71 degrees downtown in St. Louis and partly cloudy. A high today of 86. Now, we may have a stray shower or thunderstorm later. That's why we're bringing in the professional Dave Murray, meteorologist, joins us next. But as I said, currently, well, at least we've got some sun. Weather sponsored by the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company, PennMutual.com/STL. Are you considering life insurance? Penn Mutual's accelerated client experience makes applying for life insurance fast and easy. Ask your independent advisor or go to PennMutual.com/STL.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley telling you about i3 Broadband. You've heard me talk about them. They provide the internet in my home. I love them so much. The reliability is great. Let's talk about price for a moment, though. They've got an introductory rate at $19.99 a month for one of their service options. No bundle ever required. You're going to save $10 a month over the cable company. They've got great pricing on all of their different packages, going up to 8 gigs upload and download speed, always mirrored. See if they're available in your neighborhood. Put your address in at i3broadband.com.
Mark Cantor at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, so I take this very seriously. Mark is a great attorney. He has a great team. He is from St. Louis. He is local. Call 314-628-9999 or visit CantorInjuryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Tonight, the Cards, the Tigers.
Ameren Total Access 550.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Raindrops are falling on my head.
Well, we have had some volatile weather over the past week, and looks like we might have a few more storms. But joining us now, I'm honored to welcome in KMOX meteorologist Dave Murray, whose voice I've been listening to nonstop on KMOX. I think I was up till 1 a.m. listening to you and Michael Calhoun, Dave. So thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. My pleasure. That's what we live for.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Well, I can't imagine you haven't gotten much sleep.
That's okay. It really is. You know, in severe weather season, it's you don't even think about it. You really don't. You just do it. You just go.
Well, I want to ask you about the storms that hit Friday. But before I do, what should people look for or expect today as far as the weather goes? Because last night was intense.
Yeah, last night was intense. Obviously, not like we saw Friday afternoon. This afternoon, and the prime time this afternoon is going to be 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's kind of a scattered, strong to severe thunderstorm setup. It won't really be moving in directly from the west-northwest. It'll be developing almost right on top of us. I think limited action today. A lot of folks are not going to see anything, but where these isolated or scattered thunderstorms develop, the main features besides heavy rain and lightning will be hail and wind. The potential for tornadoes is very low today, and the focus is going to be Metro St. Louis to points southeast and east. Again, it's not a big outbreak today, but it's kind of the last gasp of this system. So we still have to kind of pay attention here.
But if you're going to Cardinals to see them play the Tigers tonight, no problem, right?
No problem tonight. It should all be long gone.
All right, Dave, this is just, I guess, weather phenomena I want to ask you about. And I talked to you right after the tornado hit on Friday. Well, I talked with you and Michael Calhoun, but I couldn't hear you. So
okay.
for whatever reason, and that's why I feel so bad if you were trying to talk and I kept talking, I couldn't hear you from my end. But I'll describe quickly exactly what I felt. The tornado sirens went off and then they stopped. And everything was fine. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to go for a run. But I turned on KMOX. I turned on the television just to see, what was going on. They mentioned Olivet. The meteorologist said, see this? This is Hanley. And as soon as he said that, Dave, outside was still totally fine and still. But my ears popped. It felt like my head was going to explode. This is the weirdest, most dramatic part. It kind of felt like the air kind of came out of my apartment. Like I felt deflated. So it felt a little dizzy. It got super windy all at once. And I just beelined for the stairwell. And that's when it got really, really loud. But it went from completely calm to my ears and my head felt like they were going to explode.
Yeah, when a tornado comes down, it takes some time. Is that we tend to get a little bit of a circulation right at the ground level. Sometimes you don't even see it. And then the funnel drops down, and if it makes contact with the ground, it becomes a tornado. I think what happened to you is that circulation went right over you, and then the tornado dropped down fairly quickly right after that. So you were at the very beginning stages of this development of the twister pulling itself together and getting ready to drop down. So I was really close.
Yeah.
Really close.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the tornado path, the first touchdown was about a half mile from where I live.
Yeah. It's only happened to me once. I was probably in a place that I should not have been storm chasing. This is a long time ago. It's a weird feeling. It's just it's like, whoa, what just happened?
Yeah, so I was getting off the highway onto Kings Highway. I saw over the park what looked like it was bad. It was there. That's what it was. But it was one of those vague-looking tornadoes. It didn't have that nice, tight funnel that we're used to seeing in videos. It wasn't like that, right? It was kind of wide. I'm like, is that a tornado? I don't know, but I shouldn't drive toward it. So I went the opposite direction, and I pulled into an alley. That was probably not safe, right? Don't pull into an
driving
alley.
away from it. First of all, driving away from it is a good thing.
Okay, so that part's good.
Right. And then you start to just roll the dice when it comes to safety with a tornado on the ground. There's no 100% safe location. Obviously, you want to get to the lowest possible point, basement, the best deal, stay away from windows, things like that. But you've got to use your common sense and use it very quickly to say, am I safe here? And if you don't feel like you're safe there, then you should probably get inside or move to another location.
Dave, because it hit so quickly, and I feel like I haven't gotten a good answer. If I'm driving down the highway and it's hitting, what do I do? It doesn't matter what lane you're in. Like if you're in the right lane, do you pull over? If you're in the fast lane, do you slow down but keep driving? I don't know what to do.
It may be the toughest place to be when there's a tornado on the ground. There's a couple of things you can do. I always say try to get under an overpass. Again, not the safest place to be, but better. The absolute best thing to do is to get out of your car and get down into a ditch, get down into the lowest possible point. But that's not a real safe place either. But it's better than being in your car, which could easily get picked up in a high wind situation. Now, the problem with getting down in a ditch, typically the tornado happens first and the heavy rain comes in right behind it or with it, depending on the setup. So don't stay in the ditch very long because that's now prone to flash flooding.
Okay.
It's not easy. It's just not easy.
Because we've heard different things now on the overpass that you should not get under it because it creates a wind tunnel effect. So the debris could get you. And so you're just weighing your options?
Yeah. It's just weighing your options. If you just have to kind of say, where can I go right now? Where I am on the highway or where I am on a road. If you're on kind of a secondary road or like Hanley, try to pull over, get into a building, knock on somebody's door, get into a gas station, get into a convenience store, get into a Schnucks, get into whatever you can get into. And that's the thing. But you have to do it very quickly. These things aren't saying, well, here I come, I'm coming now. No, they're like, here I come, I'm coming now.
Yeah, and right, like a side road too, like Hanley, like you said, get into a building because there are so many trees, or those people who are driving on Lindell. I saw a car the other day, or yesterday, I should say. It was one of those giant 100-year-old trees, and this was near Forest Park, and it crushed the car like down to the chassis, down to the wheels. The entire car collapsed.
Yes. If you've never cut a tree down, whether it be a relatively small tree, like a 10-inch diameter tree, or one of these huge oaks kind of thing, it is amazing how tall it is. It is amazing how heavy it is. It's amazing how much trouble you can get into very quickly with a falling tree. I know from experience from cutting a tree down and it went the wrong way.
Oh boy. Did it land on your house?
No, it actually landed on me.
Oh my gosh.
I caught it. It was about a 10-inch diameter tree.
Oh, okay.
And I was trying to push it away from the deck, and but it went towards the deck, and it was like, okay, I think I can hold this thing up. And then my wife realized what was going on, called the fire department, and of course they love to come to Dave Murray's house.
Were you laying under it?
Or were you holding
No, I
it
wasn't
up?
laying under it. I was still holding it. I
thought you were saying that you were cutting down like a 100-year-old oak or something. And it fell on
I
you.
know better than that.
Yeah.
I know better than that. This was one I thought I could handle.
Wow. Okay.
But it's just cutting a tree down. Kind of expect the height of it is probably double of what you expect it to be.
Yeah.
So this storm on Friday, we heard it turned into an EF3. That was the ultimate rating. Why don't they pass through the urban part of St. Louis, like the actual metro part? Is it just dumb luck that it hasn't happened since the late 50s, or is there an actual reason they don't go through cities typically?
No, there's a fallacy that tornadoes do not hit cities. They absolutely do. It is just it's luck or not luck, depending on how you look at it. Our worst tornadoes, 1896, 1927, 1959, came right through the heart of St. Louis. Hundreds killed in some of these tornadoes. The 59 was the one that hit the old Checker Dome and hit the Channel 2 tower and kind of squished it down. It just depends, and that happened in the middle of winter. It just depends. It just depends on the setup, but do not, it's kind of like opening your windows before a tornado.
Yeah.
That's kind of a fallacy now too. And it's it's one of these things. Tornadoes can hit anywhere at any time. Do not think that you're in a safe place because of the river or because it's a city or because of whatever reason. A tornado can hit anywhere and really anytime.
Okay, quick question about the windows, because I had always heard that's a fallacy as well. Don't open your windows. But then I saw so many houses where it looked like the windows just blew out, like every single window, 30 windows.
Yep.
That's pressure, though, not wind, right?
That's wind. No, that's
Is it
wind.
really?
That's where the fallacy developed.
Okay.
Everybody, 20 plus years ago, everybody thought it was the pressure that was doing that. But in reality, it's really the wind that is doing it. I always say, if you want to crack open a window, do it well ahead of the storm. So maybe you can hear the sirens a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
But do not go toward, if the warning is up, the sirens are going. don't run to your windows and open them up, because that's a weak part of the house. The windows are going to go in first, and you're wasting time. Don't take the time to run to a window and open it up and then get to your basement or get to your interior bathroom. Just say, get to your safe place right now. Windows are probably going to go anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Dave, along the tornado path where it did touch down, we were kind of talking about it first touchdown, right? Like at Big Bend and the Clayton area. And in the middle, like it's a very wide road with a giant median. The median has a lot of smaller trees. All of those look like they were cut in half, like twisted in half. There's even lampposts wrapped around trees, but the giant 100-year-old trees on each side of those roads looked like someone was gardening and pulled them up by the base with root system that pulled up the sidewalk on the road. Is there a specific reason why all the median trees were cut in half and all the giant 100-year-old trees were intact but pulled up by the roof?
A lot of that has to do with size more than anything. We've had a lot of rain this spring, so the ground table of water is very, very high. And plus, remember, the trees are in leaf now. So when you get a strong wind, whether it be a tornado or a straight line wind, trees are going to grab that. And in this case, 150 plus mile per hour winds, it is just going to be pulled right out, kind of like a cork coming out of a bottle.
We had a listener, and this question is from Keith, Dave, who's asking, there were people who were inside the arch at the top of it when that storm rolled through. And Keith wants to know, could it be knocked down by a tornado?
Could the arch be knocked down?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't believe there's anything that is 100% safe when it comes to a tornado, especially when you're talking EF3, EF4, EF5. Yes, that would be a possibility.
Oh, that would be dangerous.
Oh my gosh. I have never thought about the arch getting knocked down like it's.
Or you could get taken for a real ride across the river.
So, do we know? I know the arch sways, and there were people in the arch. How much were they swaying? Were they swaying like 10 or 20 feet?
I don't know. It kind of sways all the time.
Oh, it was.
I don't think it would sway 10 to 20 feet, but it's one of those things. I mean, we had fair warning, a 24-hour warning that this was not going to be a pretty afternoon on Friday. And then as we got into the early afternoon, it was like, we really do have some problems here, folks. We really need to pay attention. And that's where each individual has to come into play. You think about, okay, are we going to have thunderstorms this afternoon? Should I be up in the arch? Should I be in a hot air balloon? Should I be playing baseball? It's one of those things where, well, it looks okay right now, but it caves in very, very quickly, especially like the storm on Friday. It developed right on top of us. It wasn't like you can look out and say, yeah, I think that storm might be in St. Charles County right now, and it might be coming towards me. This all developed right on top of us.
Dave, there's been a lot of controversies about the tornado sirens in the city of St. Louis. Did they go off? Did they not go off? But I guess outside of that, what are your thoughts on the tornado siren system in general? I've kind of heard some people say the system's outdated. Others say it's necessary. What do you feel about it?
I like the siren concept. I really do. They test them. Now, the question is, do they really test them? Are they going to each siren site and making sure it works? And if it's not working, how quickly do they fix it? A lot of times you forget about it. It's like, we don't need to worry about it today. Let's put it on the docket for tomorrow to fix. These things need to be fixed right away. The why sirens get blown in our area is a mess. It has been a mess for a long time, and I could talk for an hour on this thing. You don't issue a tornado. There should only be one person, and that's the National Weather Service, blowing those sirens. It should not be given to that power should not be given to anybody else. It should come from one source. And it's also, don't blow the sirens. If you're in St. Louis County and there is a tornado warning for central Jefferson County, there's right now an adjacent county will blow the sirens. Don't do that. Just don't do that. Because you get to the point of, crying wolf. I don't know how this whole thing got started. It got started a long time ago, but that whole thing has to be revamped and revamped not only with the system itself, but on the education of the public on what we're doing here. Because a lot of times, you mentioned it, that, the sirens went off, so it must be okay. And it's just goofy. It's just really goofy, and it can be confusing, and it can be dangerous.
So the mayor said the fire department now is going to have control. They physically have control of it. You say the National Weather Service should be doing it. Is there a mechanism by which they could? Could they physically be in the office and
absolutely?
All right. So then why doesn't it happen that way?
I don't know. In a lot of places in tornado land, in the plains, in the Midwest, that's how it's done. Why we have decided to do this, I'm not sure. I've never gotten a clean answer out of this, and I've been searching for it for like 20 years.
Oh, okay.
Why do we do this? Why do we do
Why do we do anything we do here?
Well, that's a whole nother thing.
I mean, everything is like a why. You could ask why about every single thing that's done in St. Louis, I think. Why?
Oh, yeah.
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 All right. Well,
yeah.
Anyway, Dave Murray.
That's another show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. You're the absolute best.
Thank you so much, guys.
Meteorologist Dave Murray joining us here on the show. It is like, it's true, right? I feel like just about anything we decide to do as a city, you could say, why? What are you doing that for? Okay, but why?
Okay, but why? You know what? That should be. We should have T-shirts like a whole slogan. St. Louis. Okay, but why?
It reminds me of, you've seen Three Amigos?
Yeah.
And at the end of the movie, Steve Martin says, "I'll be back." And the lady goes, "Why?" It's Chris and Amy.
I'll come back one day.
On 104.1 FM KMOX.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Rochelle talks about her experience with 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
It was a wonderful experience. I had heard about them on the radio. They come out to your house. They let you know what they do. They let you pick out your features, your colors, and then they come into your home the morning they start. They walk you through, this is what's going to happen, and you leave for a few days, and you come home, and it's done.
Was it easy?
It made it easy because you're not in the middle of a mess for 2 or 3 months. Left on a Tuesday morning, and it was done on a Thursday night. We came home Friday morning early because we were so excited.
What was your reaction when you first saw it?
Wow.
It's about time.
3 days or less
at 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Are you looking for an easy way to get a daily detox? Active Liver is the easy way to get a daily detox. To keep you healthy and feeling your best, you can find Active Liver in the vitamin aisle at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you, and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing.
I really need funding to expand my inventory.
Swish Funding can help you expand inventory, upgrade equipment, and boost your cash flow.
Well, okay, but I need funding fast.
Swish Funding provides funding from $25,000 to $2 million with payment terms tailored to your needs and cash in your account in less than 24 hours.
So what's the catch?
No catch. If you've been in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000, you could qualify. Just go to swishfunding.com to apply. That's swishfunding.com.
If you're a State Farm customer affected by the recent tornado and need to submit a claim, go to statefarm.com, call 1-800-SF-CLAIM, download the State Farm mobile app, or contact your local State Farm agent. With one of the industry's largest catastrophe response teams, State Farm and your agent are ready to help. Go to statefarm.com to start your claim. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, Dr. Albert Kim.
It's just really scary when someone hears that they have a brain tumor. We're here to help you, guide you through that, and also to have a treatment plan that you can understand so so you can be successful in terms of not only clinical outcomes or something sterile like that, but also so you could have a fulfilling life.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Mizzou football is here to stay. After an undefeated home season and a second straight 10-win year, the Tigers are looking for more in 2025.
Eli and the boys have done it again.
With a top 10 transfer portal class and a strong home schedule highlighted by Kansas, Alabama, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, you don't want to miss out. Get your spot in line by joining the season ticket waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist. MIZ.
Hey guys, it's Dave for Universal Windows Direct, and May is officially the kickoff to home improvement season. Right now, during their home improvement season sale, you'll get an incredible 50% off your windows. Yes, half off. It gets better though. No interest and no payments for 12 months. That's a whole year to enjoy your new windows before you pay a single cent. Plus, you'll receive a free entry door with your window purchase. Call 314-334-2522 or visit universalwindowsdirect.com to schedule your free in-home estimate today. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
Straight Realty has always been an industry leader when it comes to commissions. So it should come as no surprise that the recent Realtor settlement has only empowered us to continue offering our sellers even better rates. We now list homes for only 2%. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Chris Ronchi, Amy Mark scores because life is too short for boring radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Tuesday has no feel. Monday has a feel. Friday has a feel. Sunday has a feel.
I feel Tuesday and Wednesday.
All right, shut up, the both of you.
If there's a reason for you to send a voice message to the show on the Odyssey app, I got one really good reason.
Okay.
I just thought of.
Yeah.
Every time you send us a message and we play it on the air, that's a little less time you have to hear us talk.
It's a great reason.
Right? So you should do it. Odyssey app, download it, AUDACY, and there's a send a message button.
Mhm.
Push that button, record your message, and send it over.
You know how KMOX is the voice of St. Louis?
Since when?
Since 100 years ago.
Literally 100 years.
Yeah, grow up. Anyway, and our boss likes us to be local and timely and relevant. Local and relevant, really, with what we're talking about. Well,
He's out of town. We can do whatever we want.
Well, good, because this story is neither local nor relevant.
Awesome.
But a bunch of capuchin monkeys are kidnapping baby howler monkeys, which is a different type of monkey. And scientists don't know why. But they have cameras set up around, in the wild as they do, so they can study this. And there have been instances of what they're calling interspecies abduction. And it's being documented among male capuchins. And sometimes you'll see female capuchins carrying, nursing, and raising infants of other species. But that's different. This is male capuchins just stealing baby howler monkeys, and then they just die.
Are they coordinating with each other to do this?
Well, they said over a 15-month period, cameras caught 5 different male capuchins carrying off 11 different infant howler monkeys for days at a time, and at least several of them died.
Well, that's terrifying behavior.
And they wouldn't let them escape, but they didn't take care of them.
Do you know what is? That's terrifying behavior from an
Scientists
animal.
have said they've never seen anything like this.
I'll tell you what's really terrifying is these orcas. These orcas who they coordinate. Like, let's say they're chasing a seal and the seal is hiding out on top of an ice cap. Like, they'll come up next to it and they'll poke their head out of the water and they'll look and see where it is. Then they'll take a running start and 3 orcas will go underneath the ice cap to break it up, knowing that it will knock the seal off into the water so they can eat it. It's really smart, but it is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, but it's not as cruel as just random abductions.
Yes, it is. They're going to eat it. They're going to eat that poor seal.
That's life.
That's true. It's also life. So there are people need help in the St. Louis area. We know that, and we have been talking about it, but there is also an issue with people not being able to feed their pets, the pets that they love. And with Purina, Kim Beardsley is going to join us next to talk about Purina Cares Day. It's a food distribution system for local families and pets that are in need. We're going to talk to Kim next on KMOX.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. A question I get all the time is, how did we become the largest injury firm in the world? We have over 1,000 lawyers in all 50 states and close to 6,000 coworkers. Our call center is on duty 24/7. You can reach us at any time at forthepeople.com. But the real reason is we won a lot. When you visit our website, go to our verdicts and settlements. There you will see what our clients were offered and what they were awarded at trial. All those verdicts help us resolve many cases fairly and early. You see, nothing beats reputation. The insurance industry knows who we are. We even have insurance adjusters call us for representation because they know too. We've made it easy. On your mobile device or computer, go to forthepeople.com and we will get busy. It's that easy. Call today. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
If you are a shelter insurance policyholder and have damage to your home, car, farm, or business due to the recent storms, please call 1-800-SHELTER. That's toll-free 1-800-743-5837. Or report your claim online at shelterinsurance.com. Early reporting of your loss will help Shelter schedule adjusters to handle your claim. Take whatever reasonable steps you can to protect your property from additional damage and call 1-800-SHELTER to report your claim today.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you, and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
It is 11 o'clock. We've got mostly sunny skies and 73 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey. In her first interview since revealing why tornado sirens did not go off last Friday, Mayor Kara Spencer spoke with Chris and Amy on KMOX, doubling down on her explanation that the button to activate the sirens wasn't pushed due to human error.
And I have full confidence that this will not happen again.
The task of pushing that button will now be in the hands of the St. Louis City Fire Department.
We put a very clear set of parameters around protocols. We'll be making some public announcements about that today. As I mentioned in the presser yesterday, the buck stops with the fire department from this point forward, and we are all clear on those lines.
When asked if anyone was going to be fired for not pushing the button, Mayor Spencer said that's an HR issue and she won't be commenting on that now. Although the Urban League's building was damaged during the tornado, James Clark says their first priority was to the community. They went door to door in the area with staff and more than 75 volunteers.
Some needed water, most needed flashlights, some needed food. We ran into some families that needed diapers.
Clark says he's never seen such devastation, and he wonders what the historic Ville neighborhood and others will look like in a month. On the bright side, he says the generosity of the business community and citizens has been invigorating. States affected by recent tornadoes that killed several people in Kentucky, Oklahoma, and here in Missouri are leaning on FEMA to help in their recovery. However, FEMA has recently been hit with extreme DOGE cutbacks. Here's CBS's Nicole Skanga.
On a good day, FEMA can handle multiple disasters at the same time, but the reality is that FEMA is not fully staffed up right now.
A new development in the New Orleans jailbreak. CBS's Katie Weiss says a jail worker has been arrested.
This maintenance worker is accused of helping the inmates turn off the water supply so that the inmates could then pull the toilet from the wall and successfully make their escape without getting drenched.
The weather is sponsored by Siding Express and sidingexpress.com.
Times of sun and clouds, warm and humid this afternoon with a thunderstorm or two, any of which can be strong with hail and damaging winds, the high 81. Clear to partly cloudy, cooler tonight, though 56. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We've got plenty of sunshine now, although storms moving through later. Right now it's 73 degrees. Transform your home with the beauty and durability of James Hardie Siding. At James Hardie, they specialize in James Hardie Siding installation. Visit sidingexpress.com to schedule a free consultation. Sidingexpress.com. It's 11:03. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
Chris and Amy now. The Dave Glover Show at 1 on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
We are going to talk to Kim Beardsley from Purina Community Affairs, the Purina Cares Day featuring a food distribution for local families and pets in need. That's coming up here in just a little bit on KMOX. But something yesterday, Amy, and over the last several days, we have heard from Governor Mike Kehoe and Mayor Kara Spencer, who we spoke to today. Wesley Bell, congressman, we talked to him as well. And what we've heard, one of the things, the themes that has been throughout after the tornado on Friday is that there's been a lot of good collaboration between Republicans and Democrats. Mm-hmm. Governor Kehoe, a Republican, and Kara Spencer, a Democrat, and Wesley Bell, a Democrat, and Josh Hawley, Senator, a Republican, and everybody, it seems like, has the best interests of St. Louis in mind after that storm. At least that's the way they're talking. Governor Kehoe praised the city of St. Louis and Mayor Spencer's leadership in the immediate aftermath of that tornado. So I like hearing that. Mm-hmm. I know you like hearing it too, just because, I mean, our politics is so fraught and it's just not fun anymore.
The state and city has really come together. It feels like a united front. For now, yes. It feels like a united front with capable leadership.
Now, I have been struck by Senator Hawley, who politically I normally do not agree with. I mean, he did just the other day say he doesn't think the president can be bought because he's already got enough money. And if you have enough money, why would you need to be bought? Which, I mean, come on. But I don't agree with him on stuff like that. However, he has been, in regard to the nuclear waste that is in the St. Louis area, trying to get people and families help on that, and trying to prevent price gouging, things like that. He has continued this, and whether or not he means it, I don't know, but he's at least saying the right stuff. I hope he does. But he's at least saying the right stuff, and this was his message yesterday when he was in town.
To all of our friends in the insurance industry, I've got a message for you. You need to pay out claims. We need 100% of claims that are eligible to be paid out, and they need to be paid out in full. I have written to every insurance company, every insurer in the state over the weekend and put them on notice. I'm in the middle of an investigation right now in the Homeland Security Committee on insurance companies, including ones in this state, and their failure to pay out claims. This is a real acid test. If they want to make good, they need to pay out claims to every person who has been injured, every person who suffered damage, and that is so many people. There's a lot of claims that need to be paid, and we will be tenacious.
So that's exactly what I want to hear from him.
He came out of the gate with that.
That was the very first thing he said.
And I will say this, regarding him calling out the insurance companies, I mean, he named State Farm, right? He's calling them out by name. And I know you said, like, well, I don't know what he means. Well, here's the thing.
No, I didn't say I don't know what he means. I'm saying I hope he means it.
Sorry, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You don't know what his motivations are.
Right.
Here's what I would say with that. You may disagree with him on the quote unquote culture war side of things when it comes to Republican Democrat politics. But this new strain of Josh Hawley, Trump, populism does align with a lot of classic Democratic talking points. That's why when we spoke with Major Garrett last week, we even said, was that Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump? It's hard to tell. And with Josh Hawley, he has been going after CEOs. He was talking about the salaries of CEOs at Boeing and other companies and said, why are you gouging customers? Why are you ripping off customers? He talked about that with the airlines. He has called out insurance companies. He has called out big tech. And as you mentioned, the waste here at the Westlake landfill, the nuclear waste, that's the strain of populism that really does sound like Democratic talking points.
Yeah. And so I agree with him on this. And he goes on to say that he doesn't want these companies messing around with people.
Regardless of who the regulator is, when a policyholder has a policy that says that they are eligible up to a certain amount, and you've got the insurance company that's just flatly refusing to pay it, we've got a problem. But number two, we want to work with state enforcers because it's really the enforcers at the state level who can bring suit, whether it's the state insurance, those who oversee the insurance, and then also the attorney general. And I would love to see some suits for insurance fraud against the insurers. We see insurance fraud all the time against individuals, and hey, that's fine. And if you're an individual and you're trying to scam them, you should be prosecuted. But what I have seen in my investigation is a systematic abuse of the insurance system, where these companies know that they're lowballing their claims, their policyholders. They know they're not paying out, and they just keep doing it anyway. Those people ought to be sued, but they also ought to be prosecuted wherever possible. And we want to work with local and state enforcement authorities to see that happens. Believe me, I have the power of the subpoena on the Homeland Security Committee. So I just say again to our friends in the insurance industry in Missouri, we love you right up until you don't pay your claims. And if you don't pay your claims, you're going to get a subpoena from me. And I hope you'll hear from enforcement authorities. These people need their claims paid, and they need them paid immediately.
He's right. I mean, he could not be more right when he says something like that. Individuals are expected to hold up their end of the bargain when it comes to stuff like this. But sometimes, and far too often, I think it happens where these major companies can get away with not paying you, or as he said, lowballing a claim, or just flat out dropping people from their policies because they have too big of a payout. Well, in that case, what's the point of having insurance if they can just say, you know what, you cost us too much money? Well, then what have we been paying you for this entire time? We're paying you for insurance. That kind of stuff flies under the radar, but it's almost like we go after individuals and we go after them hard. But it's like we can't do this when it comes to the people actually running these companies. And he's right. Go after him. Go after CEOs of these companies. Whoever's in charge, they deserve to be gone after, because the rest of us have to play by the rules. They should have to play by the rules too.
Yeah, again, when you're looking at insurance companies and you're looking at objectively, you can say, I understand that they have to have a viable business model. I understand that insurance companies need to make a profit. There needs to be monetary incentive. I get it, for insurance companies to exist, and then also for them to be able to pay out. What is frustrating is when insurance companies grow so big, the profits are great, and then it comes down to
stock prices are high.
How can we rip people off in order to increase our profits? Like I said, I'm all for business, but there are some abuses here where State Farm or whatever insurance company is so big and their legal teams are so big that they can outlast you if you were to say, hey, you're not paying your claim. They can outlast you if you were to contest, say you're even in a car accident. They go, well, it's your fault. And you're like, well, it's not really my fault. They can outlast your legal team, and they have all the power. So I do really like that Senator Hawley is calling them to account, saying you have to be able to pay these people, pay these insurance claims out. You can't rip them off.
And another thing he warned them against is raising premiums, which was a question that was asked to him.
Better not be. That's price gouging, which is forbidden by Missouri law. So you can't just rate. This is the same thing with owners of convenience stores. You cannot jack up prices. Water, same deal. We have anti-price gouging laws in Missouri. I know the Attorney General will enforce those in a very tough manner, and that includes insurance. So We don't want to see premiums all of a sudden tomorrow skyrocket. That's not how it works. We want to see the insurance companies pay what they should pay.
And same with homeowners being dropped after disasters when homes.
Same deal. That's the same deal. That's illegal. You cannot, as an insurer, you cannot drop off somebody just because you don't want to pay their claim or try to beat them to it. And before they file a claim, you drop them. That again would run afoul of our protection, our consumer protection laws. And believe me, I'll be talking to the Attorney General to make sure that those get enforced. I know he loves to enforce them. He's good at it.
Good. And I hope he sticks to that, because I can envision a situation, probably many, dozens, where people do get screwed because the company tries to do something under the table and tries to get out of paying a claim. And look, if you're an insurance company and you can't afford to pay claims, you're in the wrong business. Do something else. That's your whole business, is to take care of people who have been paying you premiums when they need you. That's your business. If you can't pay out, you should be doing something else.
Yeah. Ron's just to this point of Senator Hawley coming here to St. Louis and calling out insurance companies, getting ahead of it. I love that. I mean, he opened with that. He came out of the gates hot.
Yeah.
Talking about insurance companies, knowing this is going to be one of those deals, those issues. So I'm grateful for that. I think one thing also, that just being kind of at ground level here at a disaster zone like we have in the path of the tornado, just understanding the processes of how different parts of government, local, state, and federal have to work together. I kind of learned that it's not so easy to call in the National Guard. I thought, well, they're Missouri's National Guard, isn't it? They're ours. Can't we just say, hey, come over here? Like it's much more complicated than that. And the mayor is going to issue, a specific reason. It has to fall into those parameters. And obviously she is in lockstep with the Governor Kehoe about that. So they're coordinating with that, but just kind of understanding how those different steps go, declaring a state of emergency, the governor declaring that, and how he has to submit that specific request to the Trump administration, and then FEMA coming in. There are so many moving parts, and I'm grateful that it seems like right now our leadership, whether it is Mayor Spencer or Governor Kehoe or Senator Hawley, are coming together to stay on top of those processes to make sure they happen.
There's a way after tragedies in which people do come together before politics really takes hold, because then the politics start. And I thought after COVID, in the immediate, as soon as we started shutting things down, like the NBA shut down, and it was like, oh my God, this is serious. In that first couple of weeks, I felt like, oh, we're going to get together on this and figure it out. Then politics started. And I think that is the problem. So right now, we're not to that politics part yet, and I hope we don't get there. But as of this moment, everybody is saying and doing the right things. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hi, Stacy with Fairwinds Rivers Edge Senior Living in St. Charles. Are you a senior seeking a fun retirement? Do you want less work and more play? Do you want to enjoy great food that you don't have to cook? Then I know. Stop what you're doing right now and call Fairwinds. Set up a time to visit and have a meal. Meet some of our awesome residents. Check us out online at fairwindsriversedge.com. We hope to talk with you soon.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. This has been a test of the emergency alert system. This was only a test.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hospital Sisters Health System isn't just in your community. We're your neighbors, your friends, your support system. From your first visit, you'll experience expert care backed by the strength of our entire health network. At HSHS, we put your health first, with medical expertise and kindness that makes you feel valued at every step. HSHS, connected to our community, committed to your health. Visit hshs.org/caring to learn more.
Out here in the middle of these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on earth. That's how it feels when you're struggling with your mental health, but you don't have to feel alone. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you, and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Hi, my name is Christina Straight, the owner of Straight Realty, and I'm asking you, what do you want in a realtor? Do you want experience? I've been a broker for over 21 years. Do you want to know how much I've sold? I've sold over $500 million, yes, $1 billion with a B, in sales. Do you want value? I now list properties for only 2%. So if you're looking for all these things and want the best, then call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than $2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040.
The Chris and Amy Show. Weekdays starting at 9 on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
Coming up is Purina Cares Day, which will be food distribution for local families and pets in need. There are a bunch of volunteer activities planned throughout the region. And to talk about that with us, we have Kim Beardsley from Purina Community Affairs joining the show. How's it going, Kim?
It's going okay. How are you?
We're doing okay. So tell us exactly what's happening and what the need is and why the need is occurring right now, or if it's always going on.
The need is always there. This is an annual event. This is our 24th annual Purina Cares Day. But then when the tornado hit St. Louis on Friday, it changed everything. And the needs have increased dramatically, and they'll continue to be here for weeks and months to come, I'm sure. And so this year, it's so important for our people to get out there and volunteer. We'll have about 1,500 people out with 35 different nonprofits on Thursday. But if you need food for yourself or for your pets, you can come to Ballpark Village Thursday morning between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. We're asking people to line up at 8th Street in Clark. And we'll also be joined by our friends at the APA Adoption Center, and they'll be handing out collars and pet ID tags and doing some microchipping, because that's so important as we think about getting prepared for severe weather season. It's important to have a tag with information on it.
Right, absolutely. With severe weather hits, your pet could run away, could be scampering about because they're afraid. Having identification is so key. Just to go over those dates again. So if you are someone who will be needing food, what is the day and time for that again?
That's Thursday, May 22nd, between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. at Ballpark Village. Line up on 8th Street, right at Clark. We'll have people out there directing traffic. We'll be out with the St. Louis Area Food Bank. They are the lead agency taking care of families that need food right now. And then we'll have some resources for the pets as well. Purina Pet Food, of course, and then collars and ID tags for the pets.
And then if you want to donate or volunteer, what do those who want to donate items or volunteer need to know?
Yes. So we are hosting a supply drive at Purina as well. We're encouraging everyone to donate the supplies. Go to the City of St. Louis website. They have a list of supplies there that you can donate. Items are going to For the Ville, YMCA O'Fallon, and the Urban League. And we're also encouraging people to go to stlvolunteer.org. That's the United Way volunteer portal. And that's where everyone should go to sign up to volunteer. Authorities are asking that we're not just showing up or self-deploying to kind of like the ground zero sites, just so that we're not interfering with their business.
I know they still have, and they've been talking about live electrical wires and stuff like that. And it is still a dangerous area. So they don't just want people showing up. So it's very important to go through the official channels.
Exactly. STLvolunteer.org. Lots of opportunities there for you to sign up to volunteer.
What about, I see that part of the Purina Cares Day also involves building bikes for youth in the area.
That's right. So we have 35 different opportunities for our people to volunteer on Thursday. And we're supporting a number of youth organizations that day. So we'll have a group of associates out at City Park, building bikes for LifeWise STL, which runs summer programming. We're also working with Boys and Girls Clubs, Lit Shop, a couple different other youth organizations. We'll have group out at Veterans Community Project in North City. That's the tiny home community for veterans. And we're providing them with some food and some items for their pets and service dogs. But we'll have a number of groups out at community gardens, community parks, kind of doing some cleanup, doing some restoration there.
And then I feel like I'm jumping all over the place here, but I know with the Purina Cares Day that you'll be handing out basic supplies, but also supplies for pets, dog food, cat food. Is there a need for people to buy and donate dog food and cat food, or no? That's what you guys are providing.
That's what Purina is here for. In the wake of any natural disaster, Purina goes into the community, assesses the needs, and donates food. So we're working with our partners at the Humane Society of Missouri. They are the lead SEMA agency in charge of caring for pets in cases of emergency. So they have food. If you need food delivered to you because you don't have transportation, you can contact Humane Society of Missouri and they can bring it to you. But in the coming weeks and months, we'll work with both Humane Society and St. Louis Area Food Bank to make sure that they have the food that they need.
Is food the number one need that you've seen here, or is there
for pets specifically? I think there are a number of pets that have been displaced. Luckily, we have an amazing pet welfare community here. We have so many organizations that are really answering the call. And so it's not just Humane Society working, it's APA Adoption Center, Care STL, Gateway Pet Guardians, and the list goes on. And so those organizations are caring for displaced pets, which really means that if you're in a position to foster or adopt a pet, really consider doing that to take the load off some of our shelters.
Right, because I imagine some of the shelters don't allow pets, I would guess, or do they? I don't know.
Emergency shelters, the Red Cross shelters, I think it's on a case-by-case basis. We have delivered some small quantities of pet food to some of those emergency shelters. We work with Peter and Paul Community Services, which is a shelter for the unhoused. They're in North City, and they are accepting pets. So we'll be providing resources to them as well. But it's probably on a case-by-case basis.
Does it happen very often after something like this, a disaster where people have pets and they have that heartbreaking decision to make where they just can't, they don't feel like they can care for them anymore and they want to give them up for adoption? I mean, they don't want to, but they feel like they have to.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking. So, Purina really works hard throughout the year, not just in disaster times, but to make sure people can stay with their pets. The good news is many of our pet welfare organizations here will work with pet owners. So if it's a temporary crisis that they're in, whether it's financial or something like what we've just experienced, they will foster the pet for a temporary period of time. And that person can get their pet back once they're back on their feet.
And also, before we let you go, just an update. I know Purina has year-round the Purple Leash Project. So women and people who are experiencing domestic violence a lot of times don't leave because the abuser abuses the pet or threatens the pet, and that may be the abuse survivor's only friend. So you guys are continuing to help make shelters amenable to bringing pets.
That's right. And historically, domestic abuse shelters were really not trained to support people with pets. And so for about a decade, Purina has been working with the DV community to make sure they have what they need at their shelters so that they can accept the entire family, including the pet. It's called Purple Leash Project. If you go to purpleleashproject.com, you can learn more and donate to that cause. But here locally, we have Lydia's House, the Women's Safe House, that do accept pets. And that really has been a game changer for women and children in that situation.
So this Thursday at Ballpark Village from 9 until 11 is Purina Cares Day. You do want people they can just come out. They don't need to.
You can come out and line up on 8th Street. I know that it's going to be busy considering the needs. We have officers there helping direct some traffic. We'll have dozens and dozens of volunteers helping support. And it's while supplies last, but know that Purina is going to be supporting this for weeks and months. We work with the St. Louis Area Food Bank and the Humane Society of Missouri on a year-round basis. And so they'll have food for those who need it as long as they need it.
Kim Beardsley with Purina Community Affairs. Thank you so much for coming in and telling us about it.
Thank you.
Ballpark Village. It's on Thursday, goes from 9 until 11. It's Chris and Amy. We are going to talk to comedian Greg Warren, St. Louis, and joins the show. He's got a new special out. He is next on KMOX.
If you're a State Farm customer affected by the recent tornado and need to submit a claim, go to statefarm.com, call 1-800-SF-CLAIM, download the State Farm mobile app, or contact your local State Farm agent. With one of the industry's largest catastrophe response teams, State Farm and your agent are ready to help. Go to statefarm.com to start your claim. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-969-0686 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-969-0686. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-969-0686 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-969-0686.
Well, it's mostly cloudy downtown, 75 degrees right now, a high of 81 today. It will be a mixture of sun and clouds throughout the day, maybe a stray shower or a thunderstorm as the day goes on. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and a high of 72. Weather sponsored by Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today. Now offering 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley telling you about i3 Broadband. You've heard me talk about them. They provide the internet in my home. I love them so much. The reliability is great. Let's talk about price for a moment, though. They've got an introductory rate at $19.99 a month for one of their service options. No bundle ever required. You're going to save $10 a month over the cable company. They've got great pricing on all of their different packages, going up to 8 gigs upload and download speed, always mirrored. See if they're available in your neighborhood. Put your address in at i3broadband.com.
We started Neovitin because we wanted to create a multivitamin for ourselves. That's why we focus on quality ingredients and formulas with our multivitamins. Neovitin 50 Plus multivitamins are formulated with over 20 vitamins and minerals, along with our 4-ingredient physician-formulated proprietary blend for the highest quality daily nutritional support. Give Neovitin 50 Plus multivitamins a try for yourself. Find them at your local Schnucks, Dierbergs, and online at neovitin.com.
It's never too early to start thinking about your retirement journey, and it's never too late either. You just need to know that the steps may look a little different. Listen to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg, Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
Our hometown was hit hard by a recent tornado that devastated parts of St. Louis. And now our community needs us. The radio stations of Odyssey St. Louis have teamed up to help. Go to KMOX.com to see how you can donate, volunteer, or support recovery efforts. Let's come together and show what St. Louis is made of. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Do you know the state of Illinois has high school fishing? There's got to be fishing coaches. I'm going to guess they're similar to the coaches I had. Will you boys embarrass yourselves out there on that lake today? Hayes got his hook caught in a tree. Jansen pulled a shoe out of the lake. And Martin, you couldn't catch a fish in the seafood department at the grocery store. If I was a fish, I'd feel safe around every one of you.
Greg Warren, new stand-up comedy special is called The Champ. It is on Nate Bargatze's YouTube channel, Nateland. It is out now. Also, Greg is going to be coming to St. Louis to perform at the Funny Bone November 6th through the 9th. So you have plenty of time to get your tickets, but I wouldn't wait anyway, because now that place is huge. So you get your tickets now. Yeah. Greg Warren, comedian in St. Louis, and is with us on KMOX. Hello, Greg.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Oh, we're doing pretty well. Is that how it was for you with your coaches? You were always being berated?
Yeah, I mean, with the head coach, the assistant coach would usually, chime in with something that was on the periphery, which is, I assume that the assistant fishing coaches are similar too. Guys, we're going to have a tackle box inspection at 9 a.m. and you all better have all your hooks and all your lures or you're not going to get on that school bus. I can tell you that right now.
I didn't know they had
Father
high school
Henderson,
fishing.
I found a half of a ham sandwich in your tackle box. That's not how a fisherman treats his equipment, son. You think Bill Dance has a half of a ham sandwich in his tackle box? He does not, son. That's all I got, Coach. Back to you.
Right. Why do you have how is there no high school? Is there? There are rivers and stuff in Missouri.
Yeah.
So how come there's no fishing in Missouri?
There might be. I mean, certainly not in St. Louis. But which, by the way, guys, I'm sorry I'm not down there. I'm in LA right now, or I would have, driven down to the studio.
Whatever.
You're allowed to be in LA.
Well, I think he's big timing us.
Yeah, I know. I just feel silly calling you guys. I'm thrilled to call you guys, as I've been calling about 100 radio stations over the last few days. I'm that's a 314 number. This is awesome.
Oh, I just realized who you called?
Yeah, well, I feel like this conversation is getting worse, Greg.
Yes, what the hell, man?
I tend to. This is usually how I talk to women. I just dig a hole and it gets worse.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we felt silly calling you, and we didn't know who it was till you picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. I feel like I should. I feel like I should be in the studio.
Well, you should.
I love coming down there. Yeah, I should be in the studio.
And I just looked it up. Missouri high school bass fishing teams. There are apparently some here too.
Who's good this year, Ron?
Buddy, I don't know. I'm going to have to let me get back to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't heard. I heard Parkway North's pretty tough, but I don't know
everything.
Yeah.
They've got a pond advantage. So how is the tour going? Because I'm looking at your tour dates, your tour schedule, and there are a gazillion listed.
Yeah, it's going good. I'll probably do this till I drop, which I don't know when is, or till they tell me I can't do it anymore. But it's going really well. I'm doing a lot of my own stuff, but I'm also doing a few dates opening for Nate. And I got to tell you, some of these venues he plays are a little bigger than the ones that I play. Guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's playing like NBA arenas.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And selling out multiple nights.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We're playing like we're playing 2 nights at the United Center.
Oh, good Lord.
And I think it's crazy because he's not that funny.
Nate?
No, he's hilarious.
Oh, what the hell?
He's
Okay.
hilarious.
I was like, what?
I was like, what is she doing?
Dude,
Ron?
she does
What
this.
is she doing?
Buddy, I don't know. That's why you need to be here so you can help.
I know.
Come on, man. She's just gone off the reservation.
I have so enjoyed. Well, what I love about it, then not surprising for people who know me. I love that his comedy is clean. But it's so everyone can listen to it. When he talks about how no one was as Christian as the Christians were in the 80s and 90s, that's me, man. I grew up on Amy Grant, Michael W. Smith. Like I was dying. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, I was never filthy, but I was probably a little more profane 15 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, a little bit. And then I just made a conscious decision to be like, I'm clean. I'm close enough to being clean. I'm going to go all the way, like Nate clean. And then I guess about 3 or 4 years ago, he decided he wanted to start like a network where he had other comics on his network that were family friendly. And it's very fortunate for me.
Yeah, we've had Aaron Weber on before. It was probably about a year and a half. Man. Yeah, he's super nice, and everybody on that network is a lot of fun and seems to be nice. We've never met Nate, but we know you and everybody there very funny.
Yeah, Nate's a great guy, man. He's a real generous, real nice. I mean, he's a comedian. Like I went to Europe with him, and he hazed me. He was, he insulted me quite a bit, but I'm terrified of heights. We went to the top of the Eiffel Tower, and they terrorized me up there. And they terrorized me.
Really?
Him and his daughter.
Oh.
There was an elevator that you can look out. It's a clear window, and I didn't want to go on it, but I felt like I should do it. And Nate pushed me to the edge of the elevator where I was right up against the glass. And then his daughter jumped up and down on the elevator. And it was traumatic.
You're being traumatized by a child.
Yeah. Middle schooler. I don't know if you've been around these kids, Ron. They can hurt you.
No, I stay far away from kids.
Have you been up in the Arch then, Greg?
Yeah, but that's enclosed, Amy. Like there's open spaces up there in the Eiffel Tower. Like you got to take one elevator to like the middle. And there's a railing that you could just go over. There's no railing at the Arch. It's like I couldn't jump out of this thing if I wanted to.
You can't.
I don't know.
You can't jump out of the Arch. You
Greg,
can't.
we talked to Dave Murray, who said that it is conceivable a tornado could blow the Arch over with people in it.
That's terrible.
It's what he said.
Well, what are you telling people that for, man? That's irresponsible. As a news broadcaster, that's irresponsible. You can't. That's mass hysteria type stuff.
That's right, Greg.
I haven't been home in 2 weeks. I don't know if my condo is still there.
Oh.
I have no idea. I don't know if my car. Was there hail damage this time around?
Probably. There was some hail last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so I mean,
we're not speculating about the Arch. I agree with you, Greg.
Hey, Dave Murray said that. He's the meteorologist.
Hey, your new comedy special, it literally just started streaming a couple days ago.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it's off to a good start.
Yeah.
Very, very excited about it. I hope everybody that lives in St. Louis watches it. That may be ambitious, but I'm proud of it. I think it's good. I tackle some guys. I talk a little bit about barbecue, which I'm sort of proud of our city that we have a really good barbecue scene right now in St. Louis.
Yeah.
But I gotta say this, it's my one problem with the whole barbecue restaurant business model. It feels like it's the one place where it's just fine for them to not have the stuff that they say they're going to have.
That's yes.
a great point.
It's a matter of pride.
Yeah.
I walk in there and I'm like, hey, I was wondering if I could get some ribs. You say you want ribs at 2:30 in the afternoon? 2:30. Son, we hadn't had ribs since 11:05. They line up for these ribs. You understand me? They line up. You're going to have to get in line. You want some of these ribs. They line up. Like, Billy, we got a boy out front says he wants some ribs. No, I don't know who's going to bring it to him. Maybe Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny. Like, hey, guys, I see the sign behind you. It says that you've been around since 86. Maybe during that time span, you would have gotten a little better handle on the demand for your product. Like you guys, you make no effort to forecast. I'm not saying that you have to have them every time. You could run out every now and then, but you're trying to run out.
Yeah.
You're saying you can't dial it in at all.
This is such a great. I've never even thought of this angle because we all just accept the fact.
Yes.
That if certain barbecue places, well, you're not going to get burnt ends if you try going at like 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
They're all gone by then. It's the only type of restaurant we're okay with that.
I mean, people can't get enough of them. No, they can't because you don't make enough, actually.
It would be like
That's
a pizza
so
place just saying pizza at 1 o'clock. You needed to line up this morning to get your pizza.
Yeah, guys. It's
wow.
I don't like it. And I don't imagine I'm going to change it, but I just think it needs to be pointed out. And I talk about that on the special. The other thing I talk about is I know where my favorite barbecue spots in St. Louis are. So I don't have to worry about this. But when I go on the road, I just stopped asking the locals where to go because it's not close. It's just never close.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, man, I saw this place right across from my hotel. I think I'm going there for lunch. You don't want to go there. You don't want to go there. That's not even real barbecue right there. That's not what you. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna get on the freeway. You're gonna go about 47 miles. Now you're gonna see a rusted down mailbox. You make a right there, and there's a gravel road. Now you stay on that road. It's gonna go a while. You stay on that road to the end. There's a man lives in a dirt hole. Now. He comes out of that hole every Thursday morning with a brisket. That's barbecue. He don't take money. You got to give him baseball cards, but that's where you're going to get some barbecue right there.
It's probably great barbecue, though.
It probably is really good.
You can only pay
It
in
is good.
baseball.
It is good, guys, but I don't want to work that hard for it. Yeah, I'm not going. The place across from me is a solid B+, and I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah, you wanted barbecue, not an Odyssey.
Yes, thank you.
You live in California. Do you try to?
No, I live in St. Louis, Ron. I live in St. Louis.
Oh, you're just in California.
Yeah, we live in the same city. I just
Greg,
out here. I'm in Burbank right now.
Can I tell you something? When you said, I don't know if my hold on,
You're
listen.
the carpetbagger. You're from Chicago.
No, I'm from Granite City.
Well, it's the same thing, man.
Listen,
it's on the other
Greg,
side of the river.
Greg, when you said, I hope my condo's okay, I swear to God, in the back of my mind, I thought, oh, man, things are going great for Greg. He lives in L.A. He's still got a condo here. Like, he's got real estate everywhere. That's what
guys.
Okay.
I got one condo in Kirkwood, Missouri, and I'm barely holding on to that. All right.
I hope they don't raise your rent. Greg.
I own it, Amy. I own it. Okay.
How are those payments going, though?
I'm calling my home city. Okay. I need to try and date people that live in my home city. I don't need you to put out there that I'm 56 years old and renting, Amy. Oh, okay. I need to meet women in that town.
You know what I'm going to tell him? He's 56-year-old. He rents and he's a leaner.
I am a leaner, man. I lean. I am such a leaner.
I tell people I'm squatting in my place. And it doesn't. It works. It works.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. You're just a charming guy, Ron.
Greg, let me give you when you're out and about and you meet a lady, you offer to buy her a drink. Always carry around a pocket full of like quarters. And so when you say, "Can I buy you a drink?" and she says yes, pull out the change and count it at the bar. Count the change. And then buy her a drink. I swear to God, it works. It works. Do it.
It does not work.
Yes, it does. It works. It's so good.
Yeah, it works with these women that you're hitting on, Ron. That's not the type of people I want to be associated with, man. I know where you're going, man. This is not what I'm talking about.
Women with a sense of humor? That's exactly what you want. Why don't you date a comedian?
I have briefly, I think. Yeah, I have briefly. She moved on to a lot better stuff.
You want to tell us who?
I dated Amy Schumer real briefly.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. Long time ago, like 15 years ago or something.
Man. So then she
that was a while back.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Well, now I don't know what...
Some stuff you can just not say. Like we all knew it. Amy knew it. She kept her mouth shut. Like the audience, your listeners knew it. You don't have to. When somebody shows vulnerability, you don't double down and hammer. Like.
Oh, I told a really depressing story about me that happened over
my gosh.
like the New Year's Eve holiday, and these people in this room have not stopped giving me hell for it.
They jumped on you. Yeah.
And they haven't quit.
Didn't feel good, did it, Ron?
Oh, it was awful.
Listen, we're on for like 4 hours a day. We jump on anything we can.
Greg, we love you. We can't wait to see you. So when you come back into town, why don't you come hang out with us?
I would love to, man. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
You're the best, Greg.
I'll see you guys later. Thanks a lot.
Greg Warren, St. Louisan comedian. His special is called The Champ. It is on Nate Bargatze's YouTube channel called Nateland. It is out now. Go watch it. Greg is awesome. We love him. And he is coming to the Funny Bone in November. So get your tickets now. GregWarrenComedy.com. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are joined by Dr. Albert Kim.
We're using not only molecules, but also machines to confront brain tumors. We have things like laser, which sounds a little science fiction, but lasers can be used to kill tumors. And we can use non-invasive surgeries. It's called focused ultrasound.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
The success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because we're a school for real life. An accredited state university, UMGC lets you earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning, life, and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer affordable tuition and online and hybrid courses. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
I really need funding to expand my inventory.
Swish Funding can help you expand inventory, upgrade equipment, and boost your cash flow.
Well, okay, but I need funding fast.
Swish Funding provides funding from $25,000 to $2 million with payment terms tailored to your needs and cash in your account in less than 24 hours.
So what's the catch?
No catch. If you've been in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000, you could qualify. Just go to swishfunding.com to apply. That's swishfunding.com.
Bob Ackerman here, joining Busey Bank in recognizing Ron Doherty for building community. President and CEO Ron Doherty has been strengthening our communities for 40 years. After merging Doherty Business Solutions with CGI, he launched Doherty Enterprises and Foundation, which supports the Alzheimer's Association, other worthy causes, and innovative solutions with millions of dollars annually. Follow Doherty Enterprises on LinkedIn to learn more.
This is Pat Buring, Executive Vice President of Busey Bank. The Doherty Foundation supports the Alzheimer's Association and other causes financially, while Doherty Enterprises uses AI and advanced technology to provide support and relief to patients and caregivers dealing with Alzheimer's and other dementia diseases. Follow their lead. That's what building community is all about. Join Busey. Get involved as we continue building the communities we call home.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
Hey, Amy, just wanted to let you know, I didn't know if my last message took. Anyway, wanted to let you know that I experienced the exact same physical sensations that you did about 12 years ago when a tornado went over Jefferson Barracks Cemetery. I lived right across Highway 255 in Melville at the time. A storm had gone through. I had just cleaned up all my tree branches, and I was back indoors because it started to storm again, and standing at the storm door, as I always did, like my mother, to watch a storm. All of a sudden, the wind picked up, and every single double hung window in the house slammed shut. I had them all open, and I could feel the barometric pressure hit the floor. And then that quickly, it normalized. And that's when I realized why they tell you to go to the basement ahead of time.
Yeah. Don't hang out the doors or the windows.
I thought that's why it was called a storm door.
Thank you for the voice message.
Thank you.
Mary. From Mary.
Quick note to Mary's point, and like I was saying, the tornado path, and it touched down at Big Bend and Clayton and then went to Forest Park. And there's a school, St. Michael's School, right on the edge of Skinker there in Forest Park. And the teachers were talking about how they took all the kids into the basement. And a teacher called in or texted in and said that they felt the same thing. Their ears popped and it felt like their heads were going to explode. And that was when the tornado went over them. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. I don't think I don't think I've had that experience.
No, you saw it though.
Oh, dude.
You should have called in. Why didn't you call Michael Calhoun?
I should have. It probably would have made for good radio because I was terrified for my life for about 30 seconds.
Yeah, nobody knew what was going on. I mean, that was my first thought, was to call in because I was like, Michael, something just hit me and I don't know what it was.
Well,
and you would have had a great vantage point. You saw that mile-wide tornado.
Yeah, I drove away from it because I'm like, I should not hang out here. I didn't know exactly the path of it. And I know that like I said, I pulled into the alley and the wind was whipping. I could see it.
But you were on the highway, right? You were on a side
I got
road?
off the highway. So I got off on a Kings Highway.
Wow.
And then I went toward the hill instead of going toward the central west end, driving away from it. But the wind picked up over there too, past Oakland. And I got into I should not have gone down the alley because I could just see all those buildings collapsing on top of me. I was scared for a minute. I made it though. Woo!
That was crazy.
Hey, this person watching on YouTube says, why is the guy in the bottom right corner in such a small box? Is he the wink link of the show? The weak link? Matt Pajeski?
I have no respect from anyone.
Oh, poor Matt. You
The
can
week?
watch us on
No.
YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and you should. Follow us at Chris Amy KMOX. Want you to come back tomorrow, 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock tomorrow. We're going to have Gas House Gang next. Oliver Marmol is going to join the show. He's with us every Tuesday. He's going to be with us for at least a half hour, maybe a little longer. Bernie Miklas, Chris Ranji, Ollie Marmol, the manager of the Cardinals, joins us. His team is playing really good baseball right now, so you are going to want to stick around for that. But for Amy and me, we'll be back tomorrow at 9 o'clock on 104.1 FM KMOX. The Gas House Gang is next.